The United States government is admitting that we do have a moon base and that there is a bear problem on said moon base.
Yes, that is correct.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Jay Scott. Episode 114. Israel's wars are our wars, with special guest, JOSE Vega. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
All right, we're here. We're going. We're ready. We're ready for today, guys. Welcome all. Welcome all to another episode of The Homeless Left. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. This is your non-tribal approach to news. We have a really great show lined up today. A lot of action over the last week since we've been on. We had to do a special show on Friday since we had some issues on StreamYard. A lot of people had issues on StreamYard last Thursday, our normal big show Thursday. We'll be back on Thursdays, so that's of course this coming Thursday as well. But yeah, we have a lot to cover today. We have our co-host Jay Scott coming in a little bit. We'll be bringing in JOSE Vega from New York, running his independent campaign again out there against the Zionists, against Richie Torres. We're supporting him on that campaign, and we want to talk to him about what's been going on. We have so much to cover as far as the protests over the weekend, what went down here in LA. We have this Israel, Iran, US World War III buildup, confrontation, manipulation, whatever we want to call it. But the mainstream media is in on it, and we have to fight back against all that warmongering that's been basically in our lives, our entire lives. And we have to now say enough, don't fall for this stuff ever again. But unfortunately, there's people that are still falling for it. That opening was actually, we found it from 2018, a YouTube channel that was called Mokpan. So it's funny how some of these comedic bits can come back and be relevant today. It was like the White House moon bears kind of sketch. They was talking about, oh, you just want to go to war with Iran. And so how relevant is that today? And we are calling this episode Israel's wars are our wars, and it seems like they've always been. And then of course our protests, those things are also something we need to look at, and how they get captured by the oligarchy. The thing that we're trying to fight against is the thing that captures our voice. We have to look out for that too. So that's what the point of this show is. We also have pretty crazy, another false flag prediction coming from Anonymous. We're going to get to that later in the show, but we're just trying to figure out who's really pulling all the strings. They always ask us, well, who do you mean by they? Who's they? Who's controlling everything? We have no idea. But if I were to guess, I'll give you a hint. It starts with I and rhymes with Shmizrael. So just to a couple shots out today, just before we get started, I want to thank all of the platforms and friends of our show, colleagues, and other news outlets like ours that help elevate us. They've been doing, a lot of them have obviously been doing it a lot longer than we have, and helping to elevate each other, tell our stories, have these discussions on multiple platforms. So we were able to do that on Truthwire with Craig and Fee. Just very important discussions about what's happening here in LA. Garland Nixon, you guys know I go on with Garland about once or twice a week, or once every week or two. And what important conversations we have to have right now. So appreciate that opportunity. Our friends out in Chicago, Kit Cabello, Hardlands Media, got to co-host with him last week as well. And if you guys, I did actually, on top of all the chaos going on, I was able to even slip in a little one-on-one interview with Indy over at Indie News Network. So you guys want to go check that out on Indie News Network, a little more in depth about what we've been doing here on the Homeless Left and kind of our story and how we're able to call out all the BS from this point of view, being that we are in the capital of Hollywood. We call it Hollywood, but it's really Zionist, Zio Hollywood. There's a lot of names we can call it, but it's a very captured industry, and we're here to be honest about what's happening around us and still be, the brave, creative storytellers we can be, and, dabble in some journalism. Because guess what? The propagandists who call themselves journalists, they're not doing it. They haven't done it for many, many, many years. And it's just taking time for us as a society to understand that and figure it out. A lot of other countries have figured out about their states. Some reason we have not. We still think we're the most freedom, diverse, democracy. Our government would never do anything on purpose to hurt us. They might accidentally do something because they're incompetent. By the way, that's the greatest lie they told to us, was that Congress and people that we elect, the reason they don't get anything done for us is because they're just incompetent and they fight all the time. That's a lie. They don't get anything done for us on purpose. And then they pretend it's because they bicker and whine and go on vacation early. And they don't mind having low approval ratings. That's fine. Just as long as we don't find out the truth that they're purposely working against us, period. That's it. So now that we understand that, it's why we do shows like this, so we can do the job for them, be the journalists that they are not being. They're getting paid to do it. They're not doing it. We have to do it for them. So that's why we're here. And for anybody who's feeling like they're uneasy about the state of politics in the neighborhoods that they live in and the societies that they, maybe they used to be able to have discussions. We used to be able to have, conversations and debates, and now you can't. You're told to shut up, stop asking questions, stop challenging things, get in line, don't help out the other side. If you're sick of all that division, all the divisiveness, all the punching down, being mad at your neighbor, oh, they have the wrong sign in their front yard, they must be a Nazi. If you're sick of that crap and you're ready to start gathering together a real people's movement of populism and fight the people in power and start punching up, then, well, the homeless left is the place for you. And you can be homeless from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from the left. We happen to be from the left. You can be from anywhere else that you find yourself homeless from. But this is the real movement that's about critical thinking. It's about non-tribal look at the world. And we can only do that if we get out of our tribes, we get out of our group think, and we start thinking for ourselves. So without further ado, let's get into what we like to start Tuesdays off with, a little real fake news update. Here we go. It's your real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Let's look at the situation going on right now, the escalation of Iran and Israel. And of course, Israel trying to get the U.S. to not just write the check for this one, but actually actively engage in the war as we get closer to World War III. Well, let's see how Fox News is covering this escalation, considering I'm sure they're going to, since their side, whatever, Trump, that team, probably want to have an honest take on this, since it's Trump that's kind of in the middle of this pressure by Netanyahu, right? Pressure by half of his base. His base seems to be turning against him, or at least half of it is. So I'm sure Fox will give an equal coverage and kind of assess what's going on. Why are we being pushed for something when we know for a fact that Iran is not actually close to nuclear weapons? We know that for a fact. That's already been determined. So, okay, Fox, go ahead. Give us your alert, your red alert for today. Here we go.
Satellite images revealing the location of a previously unknown Iranian nuclear site. Now, the facility spans nearly 2,500 acres, and this is a big discovery. Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Good morning, Jillian.
Pretty explosive, Dana. These satellite images that we have obtained exclusively show the alleged site location and even the layout. of the secret, previously unknown nuclear weapons facilities inside Iran. This, of course, raises fresh concerns about the regime's role in these ongoing nuclear talks with the Trump administration. The National Council of Resistance of Iran has collected intelligence from sources on the ground inside Iran that locate this nuclear weapons facility in what is called Semnan province, far from the regime's already known nuclear sites. It's codenamed the Rainbow Site by Iran's officials, and it spans nearly 2,500 acres. It's been operating as far as we can discern.
Oh my God. Wow. It's a good thing they did their investigation so they could tell us that, never mind that Tulsi Gabbard, the head of our national security, director of our national security intelligence agency, never mind that she put this out less than 90 days ago. United States intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. Okay, so if that was a lie, we would have seen pushback on it back then, within the first few weeks, I would imagine. But no, that was legit. Nobody challenged it then. Trump certainly didn't challenge it then. Well, I'm sure that if somebody asked Trump a question, an actual question about this, he might have a intelligent answer about it. I would hope that he could at least come up with some sort of maneuver about why this has changed, since this wasn't yesterday. I mean, let's be fair. This was several weeks ago, just under 3 months. Apparently that's the marker of March 26th. So we're under our 3-month mark, but that's several weeks. Let's see what he comes up with of how he's going to spin it to make it look like that they're all aligned and everybody's in a room together. They're all, completely on the same page. Okay, leader of the free world, tell us how you guys all are aligned on this right now.
How close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having one.
I don't care what she said. I'm telling you, they're very close to having one. Oh boy. Not good. Well, that was probably the worst attempt at maneuvering this to look like they're on the same page. That just basically is telling us that they don't communicate. He doesn't give a crap about what Tulsi reported. So there is a massive problem here inside the Trump team. And again, you guys those that are still on board with this 60-70 chess, I'm not exactly sure how giving up your queen is a great chess move, because that's what that's almost equivalent to, or just giving up a bishop or a knight for no reason. All you had to do was say, this has been developments have happened since. So that was accurate at the time. Now it's not. So you could have lied and said that, but you didn't. And now we have Netanyahu doing his rounds, not just going on Fox and scaring the crap out of the Fox audience, going on ABC too. He's making his rounds on every network. Here's a little piece of him telling us, strong-arming us, that we have to get their back. We have to do this.
Tomorrow it's New York. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
I mean, it's very confusing, guys. I don't understand why they couldn't have come up with a better lie here. I think they're playing us for fools to a point where they can't even coordinate this well. Like, if you're gonna try and trick us into yet another regime change war, another we have 7 wars to do in 5 years, as General Wesley Clark told us back in 2014 on the Amy Goodman show, Democracy Now! He sat on the stage in front of a live audience and told us, we have top-down orders. We have to do 7 wars in 5 years. Some of those didn't work out. but we circled back. Well, let's just go over the list so you guys know. It was Iraq, Afghanistan. We had to do Syria. We'll come back to that one. Yemen, Libya. This one is Iran is the 7th. Iran is the 7th. So don't forget. We have this Gaza Palestine annihilation, genocide, Holocaust happening in real time, that we are funding that as well. But Syria was the one we had to come back around to, and now Iran is the last one. Let's just just so you guys understand how the news cycle works when it comes to pushing Netanyahu's words, because he's been doing this for years. This is CNN trying to sell us, just to remind you guys, back in 2017, why we have to take out Assad in Syria. Didn't work the first time. We came back and did it last year, and we did it pretty quickly. So we always circle back and do it. We don't, even if we don't get it, we come back and we'll try it again. But this is the first attempt, and this is the crappy ass theater they tried to pull off. It was Charissa Ward, who still works for CNN. She should have been fired and prosecuted for this crap, where she's she's sniffing a backpack and telling us that she smells deadly chemicals, so it checks out. Remember this?
And there's definitely something that stings.
Yeah, because that's how chemicals that are designed to kill you, they stink. So there's that we know that's how it works. Chemical warfare, because Assad was chemically attacking his own people. Well, good thing Charissa Ward went in there and smelled it for herself, and she could tell us, oh yeah, this is deadly. Oh yeah. Not to spoil alert, but she didn't die. They wouldn't have had her do that. I mean, you guys, come on, you guys know. So so we're going through this yet again. And I'm telling you, the fact that they're not even trying to look coordinated, the fact that Trump tweets out that we had nothing to do with the attack Israel did, the sneak attack on Iran, where they took out the negotiators that were supposed to be negotiating with Trump Sunday. He had a meeting set with the negotiators, the head negotiators in Iran, set for this Sunday, 2 days ago. And what happened? They were murdered. So now there's no negotiation. Trump said, oh, I had nothing to do with that. Oh, no, we had to do some damage control. Oh, no, never mind that. Everybody came to bat for him. Fox News, CNN, who's supposed to hate Trump. They're supposed to say Trump sucks. Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He's a fascist dictator. He's a racist. But they immediately got him in line. They said, no. He knew it was happening the whole time. And now we have Netanyahu on ABC telling us, oh yeah, Trump's doing a great job with his little bait and switch. We like that. We like him lying and then pretending and then not. And then so that's the game plan. And we're supposed to buy this crap. But the difference between now and before, when we're talking about the other wars that Netanyahu tried to sell us on and succeeded. He succeeded at doing that about Iraq and Afghanistan. He succeeded at doing that about Libya. Oh, we got to take out Gaddafi. Go in there and do it. Why? Because he wanted to have a different currency than the petrodollar. So let's call him a dictator and take him out. Hillary Clinton still brags about that today. So we fall for this every single time. The problem now is there's new ways to trick us. We saw this on our Twitter feed this morning. This is insane. Now, look, people immediately are going to say, oh, why are people sharing that? It's fake. That's the point. They can manufacture consent with fake AI videos. They don't even have to invest in the real thing. All they have to do is put the AI together, and you get this. This is scary, guys. This is scary. Because, again, I know some people immediately go, why are you people sharing that, trying to make us think that New York had these floater missile presentation going down the streets, telling us Iran is your problem too, and it didn't actually happen, so nothing to see here. No, it did happen on AI. It's all over social media, and it's sending you this messaging. It's going into people's feeds, and you see the people walking by like nothing happened. It's really, really showing you that there's manufactured consent. There's no uproar. People are going about their lives. It's very crafty and very, very scary that they can play with people's emotions, and they can do it in a way that doesn't even, it's very cost effective because they don't even have to put production value into actually doing the thing in the actual street. They can just do this online. And of note, it is interesting that they chose to use Arabic writing on the side of the missile presentation and not Farsi, even though we know that people in Iran speak Farsi, not Arabic, but they don't give a shit. They just wanted to do it the way they wanted to do it. So let me remind you how bad the mainstream media is at elevating the messages every time Netanyahu comes to DC, getting the red carpet treatment, telling us who to evade next, who to write the check for, who to put American lives at risk for. Let's be reminded of how they back this up every single time. This has been happening our whole lives. Here we go.
On about 12 months to enrich enough nuclear material for a single nuclear weapon.
United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken is warning that Iran is potentially just months away or less from nuclear breakpoint.
Iran is 2 months away from a nuclear weapon, and it's a victory to get them 1 year away?
Iran could be less than a month away from building a nuclear weapon.
Netanyahu has made 2 tough-talking TV appearances, saying that Iran is just months away from making a nuclear bomb.
What is important to understand is that you have to dismantle the entire terror empire, and especially before its main practitioners, the terror states of Iran and Iraq, acquire nuclear weapons. And this, I think, has been a wake-up call from hell. It is telling us you have the power now to act.
Look, I know we say this all the time. These are not journalists. These are propagandists. It's one thing for, DC, for Congress to put the red carpet down and the standing ovations for this psychopath. But, and in a weird way, we almost excuse it because we know they're politicians and we know they are in the pockets of lobbyists, particularly AIPAC, and we know this, and their job is to work against us. It's actually easier for us to accept that. Even though there's a lot of candidates we've given money and votes and time and energy and our lives to, our hearts and our souls, and we've cried over Bernie and as bad as that is, we can accept that because that's politics. The part that's hard to accept is that these news networks that call these guys journalists, that go on these anchors, they're not journalists, they're not journalists, they're not journalists. Even if DC is rolling out the red carpet for this guy, the fact that these propagandists, they're also psychopaths. They don't hold an elected office, but they're getting a paycheck from the CIA, from Pfizer, whoever is promoting their network. They're given their talking points, and they have to have Netanyahu come on and pretend that he is looking out for our interests. And their conversations are the most dangerous conversations. You want to talk about misinformation, disinformation. Those conversations are the absolute worst. They're far worse than what the politicians are doing in DC, because we should know what the politicians are doing in DC. There are still people turning on the TV and thinking that these are honest discussions happening with Netanyahu. He should be banned from coming on. And again, I'm not for censorship, but I'm saying you don't get to come on our airways and lie to us unless the journalists can be journalists and push back on your psycho ass. But we know that they won't do that because that's not their job. So again, let me revise. He shouldn't be banned to come on, but the networks should know that when they bring him on, we should know as a people that they're just putting up theater and they're lying to us and they're wasting their effing time, and we should just boycott. We should just boycott. They can have the conversation all they want because we're not for censorship. So go ahead, yap all day with Netanyahu on your shitty networks, but we, the people, know better. And that is your real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Okay, I got to update the camera setting here. It looks like I have a little fuzzy here. That's too bad. Hope that didn't affect too much the last segment. Okay. Yeah, you know, guys, we've been having these issues with StreamYard. I don't know if this one's related to the one from Thursday, because Thursday they just shut everyone off. They shut off StreamYard literally 10 minutes before we were counting down the show. We were about to hit the countdown, and StreamYard was gone. And then we saw that everybody was thrown off that uses Stream, because StreamYard is our third party media kind of organizational tool, so we can present to you guys more than just, hey, we're going live on Facebook or going live on YouTube, but we actually have a setup here that can accommodate, what we're trying to do, guys, the interview, news show, commentary, clips and stuff that we can do, banners and all your comments, all this stuff. You guys know it takes a little bit. So StreamYard, when that goes down, we have no ability to do anything. But I think right now we're just having it's weird. It's telling me we have bad connection, but I'm literally connected right into the system. It's very weird. I hope it's just a glitch on their end. I think we fixed the camera, so I think we're good. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on with the show. I'm gonna set up a couple things here. Screw it, I'll just set it up as we go. I want to get on with this. We got a lot more to get into here, and luckily it's Tuesday, so you guys know it's time to bring in our favorite co-host for Tuesday. You guys know him and love him. Let's welcome back to the show, and let's get going on this stuff. Here we go. Jay Scott, welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? Crazy few days, man. It's been a lot keeping up, with everything going on. But how's everything out in LA? Did you go to more protests this weekend?
Yes. So here's what I want to do. I want to discuss some of that. Maybe if we can tag you on after our guest, I would like to maybe do that on the backside, and we can do some. I know we wanted to get into some of the Maha stuff, but man, there's just so much we want to really spend some time on Iran and Israel and Trump and all this stuff.
There's a little bit of good news from Maha, so I know we probably won't have too much time to dive into that, but there has at least been some positive signs there. So it's a shame. So much bad stuff happening. We can't even actually get to any of the good stuff. But
I know
soon we can take a more comprehensive update and just give everyone, a one-off. But it's a lot of urgent stuff happening right now. So
absolutely. And then as far as the LA vibe goes, I mean, there's still protesting happening now, but I have to say and we'll get to this later, but and also I want to talk to Jose Vega about this as well. Like how this thing got captured and what's happening next, because I think the biggest problem out there, when I was talking to people, the biggest problem was they don't know what's next. Their emotions are about the moment. We did it. They go home happy, but it's like, well, what did you do? What happens Sunday? What happens Monday? What happens Tuesday? And Indy from Indy News, he's asked that question. Nobody can answer it. We were talking to him as well, and nobody wants to answer that question because I don't think they know what to say. They don't even know what the demands were, so very vague. We don't want fascism. Okay, well, what does that mean? You want to unthrone Hitler Trump from the throne and take his crown, but did you even think that through? What does that even look like? JD Vance will be okay. So now what? So you got the technocrat.
We hate bad stuff. We hate bad stuff.
There you go.
Yeah. We all hate bad stuff. So it's a shame, man. But hopefully people realize what the actual goal behind these mass protests are. So
no worries. Oh shoot, I got a message. Jose might be a little bit late or not. It might not even happen. We'll see. We'll have to see.
Okay.
He'll keep me posted, but I told him we have a little cushion because you and I were going to be covering some stuff anyways. Let's see what happens. I'll keep an eye on our messaging here with him, our communication. He's good. He's a good communicator. Sometimes we get guests. We don't hear from them. They're just gone. We don't know what's going on. Some people, but no, he's very good communicator with us. We appreciate that. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on with Jose. But either way, we have two big stories, and everything's kind of connected. It's all connected, man. It's all connected. So let's go. Let's start. I'm just. Do you want to start with? You want to do Iran and Israel like we were? You want to get on that?
Yeah, for sure. But we just gotta I hope you saved that picture I sent you, the quote from Alex Karp. You remember about the 3-front war, but anyway, we'll get into it. So
we will grab it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna grab that right now. That's important. If people haven't seen that, it's just there's people that don't even know who Alex Karp is yet. Still, there's people that don't know who Peter Thiel is. They barely know who JD Vance is. They don't even, I think he's our vice president. They don't know the connection. They don't know Elon's connection. They don't know anything. They go, oh, Elon, the guy that did the Nazi salute. They're like, oh my God.
So few people have done that next step to dive beyond the surface level stuff and to actually follow the money connections behind everything. But once you do, it is a pretty short path. So, that's something I am definitely hopeful for. Anyone can see it once they actually take some time to, follow the money trails, because it's a clear path, all leading to the same destination. For a lot of them, it's big tech, military, industrial complex, and Wall Street. Those are the 3 top dogs at the moment. So since that is the new oil.
Absolutely. It is. It is the new oil. Indeed. Okay. We're going to go ahead and call this first segment. We're going to call this first segment World War III Watch, because my God, if we're not
watch. It's still watch. I thought we'd be on to watch it this point.
Look, I'm going to tell you, Jay, you're not going to believe this. I still get shit from people here in LA that'll tell me that we are just kind of doing this over, what do you call like a kind of, what's the word they use? They always say we're hyping it up. Why do you do this World War III watch segment when we're not in World War III? I go, because the optimal word is watch, because we are having to keep our eyes glued on what's happening. And what you want us to report after we've been nuclear annihilation has happened, then you'll be willing to listen to us. You don't want to hear what we have to say right now.
Yeah.
Because it's you're just trying to get clicks. No, we're trying to have a conversation about
people don't realize how many more nukes there are now than there were during, we were the only people with nukes at the end of World War II. So when we dropped a nuke, it took the world by storm. And I guess there's so much talk about tactical nukes, and there's been so much warmongering with countries all over the world, that a lot of people have lost sight of how dangerous nuclear war actually is. So that's one reason I'm hopeful we can get Jose on here today, because the organization he's a part of, the Schiller Institute, they do an excellent job highlighting the horrors of nuclear war. They hold events across the country where they've spoken about it, done showings with people from Japan. So it's something that we really do need to take seriously. And if we're not paying attention before and reading between the lines and keeping up with independent media, then we're not going to know, because we know for sure mainstream news is not going to give us a heads up on what's actually happening. So they just are going to push the narrative they've been told to push.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's go ahead and start with our first segment of the day. It's time for some World War III watch. Here we go. It's World War III watch. Let's just face it, it's already started. I'm Matt Weinglass here with co-host Jay Scott, and we're going to look at the back and forth and the escalation happening over these last few days regarding Israel antagonizing, basically aggressively starting, as we would say, starting shit and getting people's attention that they want to go to the next level of war of the Greater Israel Project. So after a sneak attack on Tehran in Iran, which took out some very specific targets, including the 4 negotiators that Trump was supposed to have a meeting with this past Sunday. Guess what? Spoiler alert, that meeting never happened because there was nobody that was going to be left in the room except Trump by himself. I'm surprised someone hasn't made a meme of that and just put Trump in a room with, I'm here for the negotiations, and the other 4 seats aren't there. There should be flowers in the chairs for their, to commemorate that they're no longer alive. With that said, of course, Iran has struck back, and we've seen the media undersell, underplay exactly what effect they were able to have when they proved that the Iron Dome wasn't even that great, well put together. And this happened in Tel Aviv over the last a few hours. There's actually been several attacks at Tel Aviv here. This is one shot that came directly from someone's cell phone. It's kind of showing you how bad it actually is right now for the people in Israel. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say getting what you deserve, but I'm going to say, how does it feel? I'm asking the question. How does this feel? These are the people that have been partying and celebrating and goofing around and hanging at the beach, while just very, very close by, the people that they've been murdering, killing, occupying, starving to death, and they don't care at all. And now this is happening to them. I'm not saying all of them. I know there've been a few protests in the streets in Tel Aviv, which, we have to point that out. But when we see the numbers, 80% of the people living there have had no problem whatsoever. In fact, have been 100% on board for annihilating and completely wiping out the Palestinian people. And now, guess what? You effed with the wrong people, Iran, and now this is what happens. How does it feel? That's my question. Jay, what's your thoughts watching this? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, war is always sad. It's never, and it's never, I never take pleasure in watching the loss of life and property getting damaged. However, that being said, Israel has caused havoc, not just in Palestine, but around the Middle East, over the past few years in particular. But, they've been doing it honestly for, a long time before that too. So, it's truly, I think it's the biggest problem right now is America and Israel may have underestimated what Iran was actually capable of. So in addition to all the evil plans they have, they're also, it seems to me, bad at what they're doing, because right now they're struggling trying to control the narrative in Israel to prevent more footage from coming out to show you the devastation that's, happening at the moment. Because to be honest with you, parts of Israel are starting to look like parts of Gaza, so until, people realize that this isn't like just another bombing by America, this is like the potential for a serious conflict. I don't know if people are going to see the urgency, of what's actually happening right now. So I do hope, I do really hope that people realize Iran's hypersonic missiles, when they are fired, cannot be stopped. So it's sad to see, life being lost all around, but kind of a lot of people are celebrating right now. And I think that is something that Israelis should really consider, and not just think, oh, it's because they hate Jews, but just really compare the impact of what they've had on the region to what's happening right now. I just hope they can do that and find some empathy moving forward. Otherwise, we're in a very dangerous escalatory situation at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, and there's another part to this besides how we're feeling, and people that are being very vocal about serves you right and celebrating, which again, obviously you can take that. If you're a Zionist, you can take that and go, see, I knew you all hated Jews. But if we just step back and just kind of be quiet for a moment, watch the behavior of the people that are there. They a lot of them are scared. They're going into these underground bunkers. They're tweeting out stuff. They're showing videos of stuff. They're crying. But one thing I'm not seeing, and I think this is an interesting tell. One thing I'm not seeing, Jay, I'm not seeing them yelling at the top of their lungs. No one's ever had to go through this ever in the history of the world. And don't you see now we are the victims? I'm not seeing anyone do that. It's a weird thing, but underneath all their Zionist like maneuvering and lying and spinning, they know deep down that this shit's happening right next door, that they've been doing. They know. They know. Because if this really came out of nowhere, if they were minding their own business, you would see a lot of, you see what the world thinks of us. I'm not seeing any of that from them inside right now. I think that's an interesting tell. I really
and the way the whole situation even came up, I think, is a bigger sign on, what's happening, because Trump essentially led them on and tricked them into thinking there was a possibility for negotiations, to happen. And because of that, Iran wasn't expecting the attack, and they went straight for decapitation strikes. So if you're trying to decapitate, the entire Iranian regime, you have to expect, a response, to that situation. So it's such an extreme action when things were supposed to be calm and they were trying to get to a deal, that for them not to expect, a heavy response, is pretty stupid. But I guess they knew it was going to be a heavy response, but I feel like their defense systems have been overwhelmed, and the Iron Dome definitely wasn't prepared, for what they've been hit with, because there's been a ton of damage on both sides. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all the damage is happening in Israel. However, northern Israel over in Haifa, southern Israel, Tel Aviv, they've been bombed all over, and a lot of their actual, defensive guns that shoot down the incoming missiles and their launchers, they've been shot too. So it's not a good situation for Israel at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get into the Trump, the public relations, damage control, maneuvering, who's doing what, we'll get into that part in a second. But I do want to point out that this, someone threw this up, I guess it was on CNN, and we have to be very careful what we see reported by mainstream. If you guys, our previous segment, we were just looking at all the propaganda that just comes at you, mostly from Fox News right now, but certainly ABC, CNN, they're doing it too. But this report comes from the ground in Tel Aviv from a CNN reporter, and I think it's interesting to look at and understand why would they be reporting on the Mossad right now. This happened today. This is interesting that they're reporting on the Mossad. Check this out.
Intel view that among the targets were Israeli airfields, but also, and this is crucial, the headquarters of Mossad, the International Intelligence Service of Israel, which is inside Tel Aviv. It's in the northern part of Tel Aviv, but it's in the city. It's in a densely populated area. And of course, the concern is if you're firing, even though Iran might consider that a military target, it is in a densely populated city with civilians around it. And that's just one more layer of escalation.
They're so concerned about the civilians now, huh? But yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting that they bring this up. I tend to think this is the one time, I don't know, they say broken clock analogy. There's another, I don't really like that analogy, but there's the 1 out of 100, they're telling you the truth. Mainly because I think that being on the ground, if you get that intel and you just are ready to look, the guy's live. I don't know if he necessarily, maybe he would have been told don't mention the Mossad, but he got that intel. He was live on a feed and he just said it. Nobody else brought it up. I would understand if it was like damage control, like some are saying it was Mossad, but it wasn't. They're totally fine. Everything's good. Why would you even bring up the Mossad to your viewers at all? I tend to think that there might have been an accomplishment done by one of these strikes where the Mossad got hit. I think that might be an accurate report. And that's great news if that happened. That's excellent news. And CNN's telling us this. And I don't know if they had a chance to filter that information before the guy just told us that. That's my suspicion. I don't know your take on that, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I know a lot of Iran's top people were actually taken out, in the original strike by Israel. So it only makes sense that they would go all out to try to find as high level people as they can, in government and in the military, to try to take them out over in Israel too. So I would say I still don't think there's that much of a wedge between, the mainstream media and Zionist interests. I still believe, they're going to do their best to present, the Israeli perspective, because I haven't watched a ton of mainstream news over the past few days, but it does seem like they are presenting the image that, Israel is actually, winning this, and they're taking some hits, but, Iran is really the one who's in trouble. And they're trying to downplay, I guess you could say, what's happening to Israel from what I've seen. So I don't know. Have you watched a lot of mainstream news? Have you gotten that vibe from them, or?
They're generally downplaying. I think the idea is that they're trying to, and this, we always say this to our audience, that it's key when all of them are aligning on the same messaging. When it comes to Trump making a decision for our country, and that they're not making him look like the guy that is not in control. Because I think what I'm seeing is that Trump has lost control of the situation. I don't know if he's ever been in control. He's being told what to do. When we have Netanyahu coming on TV he's doing his rounds on Fox, on ABC, and he's telling us, oh yeah, Trump's doing a great job at baiting and switching you. That's what he's saying. He's saying, don't mind that he said he knew nothing about this. He knew everything about it. We were totally aligned. We knew we were going to take out those negotiators. So he was basically faking that whole thing on our behalf. He's doing an excellent job. And now he's going to pretend right on cue that Iran is this close to nuclear weapons. And we've played this on the last segment, but I'm going to play it again if you guys are just joining us, because it's important you guys understand that for him to do this has to be something he was instructed to do. So he's deflecting the question of why are you telling us that there are weapons coming out, that there's nuclear arsenal coming out of Iran any day now, when your director of foreign intelligence has told us very clearly that they do not have that capability, and that was as early as March.
That's why Tulsi's getting shut out now. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
That's why she's getting shut out now. But the fact that he has to say this and act like, oh no, don't listen to anything that Tulsi says. Let me grab this. Hold on, where did it go? I had this earlier. Hold on. Okay, here we go. This is Trump deflecting the Tulsi question, which whoever the reporter is, it's a great question. Why? What do you have to say about Tulsi's assessment that Iran has no nuclear capability?
How close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
I don't care what she said.
But Matt, he only picks the best people. He only picks the best people, and he doesn't care about their opinions. Go ahead.
No, this is people defending Trump are going to say he's overriding because he has the right gut instinct. It's a feel-good moment. Yeah, get out of here with your analysis. I have a gut feeling. But I think it's far more. It's far worse than that, Jay. This is somebody who's getting given exact instructions that he needs to deflect that, and he needs to get on board with the lie that Iran's ready to strike us, and specifically not just Israel, ready to strike us. Yeah. Netanyahu is telling us, and for those of you guys who missed it, this is Tulsi's official report. This is the report from March. There is no nuclear weapons program. It's been suspended in 2003. Nobody challenged that then. Nobody came on TV and said, Tulsi's, you're actually not very good at your job. None of this is true. No, everybody was fine with it then. And this was less than 90 days ago.
But so, Matt, there's no need to debate the points, man, because, we don't need to talk about the facts. It's just time to get emotional, man. That's all. Like, are you with America or are you with the terrorists?
Yeah. And so with Netanyahu now talking directly to Trump's base, who we know is divided. We know on one side you have Tucker Carlson, you have obviously Candace Owen, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are people that are saying this is not what we voted for. This is not okay. This is not America first. And you know what? Good news, Jay, is that a lot of his bases are listening to them. They're saying, you guys are right. This doesn't sound like America first. What are all these hats? Yeah. What were all those hats about? What was MAGA? What does that even, what MAGA means nothing if Netanyahu is in charge. So with that, Netanyahu has to do damage control, and he's got to go on TV on ABC. I'm going to grab this one again. We had this because this is also real fake news. It's World War III watch and real fake news all together at the same time. It's pretty crazy because none of this is all fake. But he's using the America first against Trump's own base by saying it's America dead.
Tomorrow it's New York.
It's kind of like a threat.
I understand America first. I don't understand America dead.
Help me or you're dead, Matt. That's what it sounds like.
When Netanyahu says America dead, I think on first here, we assume that means Iran's ready to attack us. And that is what he's suggesting. However, there might be something even more nefarious going on there.
Did you get that Samson option posted?
I got it. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the Samson option right now.
Yeah.
This is pretty concerning, to say the least. So we're going to start with this. This is the Samson option. Just the breakdown of it is if Israel gets in trouble and is threatened at a level where they can't exist the way they're going to be able to exist anymore, their final move will be launching nukes. And it will be at their apparent allies, the ones that have been allowing them to exist this entire time. Washington, New York, LA, Colorado, Paris, London, Berlin, Moscow. Now, you guys think this could be some hype online? Well, we looked closer, and this is a very just to the nuts and bolts of what is the Samson option, and more importantly, why haven't we heard of it before? But it is a doctrine that does exist in Israel's their it's part of their philosophy. It's so they can pull it out at any time, just like we've seen them pull out other things from their doctrine, which we've seen, like the Hannibal directives, like we've seen things get pulled out of their little Rolodex of things that they have put aside and put together. So here's a little breakdown for you guys. If you guys are hearing about this for the first time, which most likely you are, you've gone your whole lives, you didn't know the Samson option existed. Here's a quick breakdown of it.
People have never heard of the Samson option, but it's not a secret. It's on Wikipedia, in Israeli media, and it was first exposed by Jewish American journalist Seymour Hersh, the same Pulitzer Prize winner who uncovered Abu Ghraib.
Let's also add in, give a little notch on the belt to Seymour Hersh for uncovering the Nord Stream pipeline, which was done by Joe Biden and the gang of NATO. So that also was done. He's got a long list of accomplishments as a award-winning journalist. But yes, let's go on with his discovery of the Samson option.
The Samson option is Israel's last resort nuclear doctrine. If the state faces collapse, it won't just strike its enemies. It plans to strike major world capitals, not just Tehran or Damascus, but Washington, D.C., New York, Paris, Berlin, even cities in the countries that fund it. Recently leaked Israeli documents list these exact targets, confirming what Hersh warned about decades ago. This isn't a defense policy. It's global blackmail. A doomsday doctrine where the entire world becomes collateral if Israel falls. Iran has never threatened to nuke its allies, but Israel has, and still might. So ask yourself, if any other country had a doctrine like this, would we call it a democracy or a threat to civilization?
Biggest threat, man, to world peace right now. It's like a colonialist mentality, like mixed with a suicidal, drive, like to get it done. So it's really insane that most people in America still call Israel a lot of people in America, thankfully the number is going down now, but a lot of people here still call Israel our #1 ally, even though they're essentially threatening to nuke our most important cities if they don't get their way. And if the Greater Israel Project doesn't go the way they intend it to, they're willing to bring down the entire world with them. That's their mentality right now, unfortunately.
It really shines a new light, and we've been relooking at the stuff we gone through early on. We've all lived through 9/11. We've lived through the war on terror, the creation of this. We're gonna attack them over there, so they don't attack us here. Weapons of mass destruction in Iran, in Iraq. The illegal torture programs, the funneling of the money into the military-industrial complex. At the time, we thought it was this maniacal plan between the Bush and Cheney regime of, the Wolfowitz and Rumsfeld and, all those players. And we tried to talk about it. Then nobody wanted to hear it. They go, no, there's no way. There's no way your country, you think your country would hurt its own people? How dare you? Why don't you get it? I heard people tell that to me. I was like, no, look at Building 7, look at the money trail, look at the manufacturing of consent to get people on board to go to places that had nothing to do with attacking. No, that was just a mistake. They just had bad intel. Okay, well, we know it was a lie. We know that for a fact. But here's the thing, Jay, as we've realized now, there's new information we didn't know then. We thought it was just this team, this think tank, the Project of a New American Century in 2000 that put this together. We never thought to ask, and we never thought to ask the General Clark when he revealed the 7 wars in 5 years, and this is what we're doing, and there's no questions asked, and we have to do these wars, and we have to figure out how to do these wars. We never asked the question of who gave that order above that top down. And it turns out this whole time it was an outside entity. So now there's a new piece. So we said, okay, well, how were they able to control us all this time? Well, AIPAC, right? Money to buy off all of our politics, all of our media, our education system, our entertainment industry. Just they buy everything off and they're able to control everything with bribing. Then we hear about sexual blackmail. Oh, if they don't go along with it, we'll reveal tapes that Jeffrey Epstein. So all of this is connected. All this is connected, man. Now there's a new level we're discovering with the Samson option. There's a new level. So you have the bribing, right? You have everyone's going to make money, so shut your mouth and get in line. You have if you don't do it, we're going to sexually blackmail you. Now there's a new level, and that is if you still refuse the money and you don't care about the sexual blackmail and you're tired of Israel and you want to stop this and you want us to go, you're going to let Iran take us down. You're going with us. And maybe that's the thing. That's really the thing. So at all this time, we've been saying AIPAC money, stop taking AIPAC money. How dare you greedy mother effers taking What if it was worse than that? What if it was worse than the sexual blackmail? What if it was literally, if you don't do this, everyone's dead? Because we are so insane. We are such psychopaths. We don't care. We're all going out together. Try us. Yeah. Is that the thing that has been allowing our country for so many decades now, Jay, to be this little bitch for this military psychopath, illegal occupation, the apartheid state, all of these decades? Is that the thing? It could be.
It's part of it, but it's also not the only thing, because before Israel had nukes, they were already taking over. So there's another driving force, behind what's happening, right? And while, Zionism is obviously a huge issue in the world today, and, probably the biggest, cause behind what we're seeing between Iran and Israel. But what most people don't realize is once you follow that chain of events all the way to the top and the chain of command all the way to the top, there's even probably additional layers beyond Zionism. If you talk about some of the older secret societies, like most people don't realize the tattoo that Pete Hegseth has on his chest. is specifically like the Templar cross. So that's another, ancient secret society most people really don't know too much about. So we have to talk about all of the influences, that are impacting our government, as we're focusing in on this situation so we can figure out how to prevent it, from happening again. Because if they weren't using Zionism, they would have been using another religion. Because, back in the day, the oligarchs, weaponized Catholicism. You had the Ottoman Empire, that ran a big part of the world. So each religion can be weaponized. And it just so happens today that right now Zionism is that tool that's being weaponized. So,
this is why we have invested in Palantir. This is why we have aligned ourselves with these technocrats, I think, that can then get this job done and keep everybody kind of in place, because our other option would be just that we're all just going to go out. So you might as well be on the side of the shark that's going around eating everyone up, and you embed this technology into everything we do. That we know that Iran attack that set this whole thing off last week. We know that was Palantir technology that pinpointed those negotiators, eliminated them, took them off the table. And so Alex Karp, I'm going to put this up because we had been talking about Alex Karp for so long, but this part's important because this shows us how all these pieces are set up to a point where Trump doesn't have a choice. Trump does not get to say, we're sitting this out. He actually doesn't get to do that. And so we can be all mad at him and say, how could you do this to us? You're such a weak piece of crap. While the left is saying you're a tyrannical Nazi. No, he's weak. He's frail.
Exactly. And really quick, just so the viewers know what a key role Trump played in this whole thing. Right now, the Iranians actually say that Trump tricked them with the negotiations. So if you weren't paying attention and reading, independent media, you wouldn't know that, it's being coordinated, between Trump and Netanyahu, because most of his supporters think that he's been blindsided when in reality, Trump started the countdown. He said 60 days from today, Iran better have signed a deal. Otherwise, there's going to be consequences. And 61 days after he said that, the decapitation strike aimed at regime change started happening. And just read between the lines of what Trump is actually saying, because on the one hand, they're saying right now they're not going for regime change. It's just about the nuclear facilities, and they want to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. On the other hand, they're also saying, as long as you don't attack American soldiers and American bases, we're not going to get involved. So that leaves an easy route for a false flag to draw America into the war. So we're being slow walked by Trump into this war. He's been part of the plan the whole time.
He's been part of the plan the whole time. He's kind of like, if this is an evil Avengers team, he would be like evil Hulk that you unleash with his crazy tweets. When really the real technology is the Palantir technology. That's your Iron Man, your evil Iron Man doing the Palantir technology. And then you got your Thor, your evil Thor, which is Netanyahu, saying, I can put my hammer down on you guys in a second. I'm the God up here looking down. I'm just making this up now, but I'm kind of seeing this evil Avengers, and Trump he's no better than a Hulk going, I don't think he even can, he even fully understands what's going on here. I think he's unleashed when he needs to be unleashed to distract and make you think that that's the problem, is Hulk knocked down a building, when meanwhile it's the technology that is doing all the damage, and they're the more sophisticated timing. You talk about the timing, Jay. I don't know. I think Trump is waiting to be told what to tweet out next, because it's so bizarre to me that he's so all over the place. I don't think he's not focused. He's not back and forth all the time.
If you look through it through the lens that Trump is trying to slow walk us into something that is deeply unpopular, I think all of his moves make complete sense. So that's why I truly think he's a lot more part of this plan than people realize.
You think he's more like a red Hulk that can think, he's a little more intelligent. No,
I think so.
Or whatever. I'm mixing up all the Marvel stuff. But
he may have a basic vocabulary, but he is like somewhat of a strategic thinker. He has been around the political, arena for a long time, at least paying attention on the peripherals, and he's been involved in the backdoor deals. So he really knows, look at his mentor, Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn represented the merger between intelligence agencies and organized crime, and that's who mentored Donald Trump. So I truly think, he's part of the strategy, and his experience in WWE, just priming us for what he's doing right now. Because we saw him do it before in WWE. Now he's doing the same acting job from the president's office.
That's true. Very, very showy, very WWE-ish. So let's connect the dots for people that miss this. So I think we disagree slightly on. I'm thinking it's very chaotic. You're thinking it's very strategic. But either way you look at it, he has a lot of power just tweeting out on Truth Social how people respond when he puts this out. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame. What a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So, this is to have this type of power on one tweet, and then you get the roads of Tehran. Now, there's like 10 million people live there. This is a massive city. Massive. This is what he did. One little tweet turned into this. Those people are waiting and waiting. They're not going to. I don't know how they're going to all get out of there. It's pretty nuts. They're trying to get a shot of how the see all the red in the background. It's all one side. That whole strip. That whole strip. So that Trump created that with one tweet. That's the kind of power he has. And again, I don't like the timing on this, Jay. I'm saying there was a negotiation meeting set up for Sunday, and this attack happened on Friday. That doesn't sound. If you look at the calendar, I think he shortchanged them. Netanyahu shortchanged them by a couple days. I don't think that's the way it works. If you give somebody a deadline, you have up until the deadline. You don't get to murder them. It's like our credit card companies. You have to pay this by this date. They don't come murder you the day before and say, hey, I got one more day here. You get to the deadline. You get to have to the deadline, man.
If your goal though is to drag America into the war, then it does make perfect sense, because you know why? It's supposed to. Why would Iran come back and negotiate with America and Israel now, just knowing what happened during the last time we negotiated, right? So if you understand that Iran has more missiles than Israel does, which it does, if Iran has a much bigger fighting force, which it does, then your only hope is getting America into the war. How can you get America into the war? Americans have to feel sorry for Israel, and we have to have more of a reason for hating Iran, which is why I believe we should definitely be on the lookout for potential false flags. If you guys have never heard of the U.S. Liberty situation, go check it out. Israel has attacked us before, and, they would do it again. But my only point is I don't think necessarily Iran and Israel, I don't think. Sorry, I lost my train of thought right there.
No, but let's go through how these tweets. He just keeps putting these out like every few hours. He'll just say, "Oh, look at this. We now have complete total control of the skies over Iran. Iran has good sky trackers and other defense equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to America-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better." So this is just like is this he thinks he's on a game show? Like this is The Apprentice? Like cut to a commercial. This is insane. Like I cannot believe. And again, people on the left think that he's this like dictator, fascist Hitler guy. But I'm telling you, this is just a guy who just doesn't even know how politics works. He's just. You're giving him more credit. You're saying this is strategic. But let's look at the. He's got another one after that. Hold on, I'm gonna grab this other one. So what are these people supposed to do? They see this stuff passed around on their social, like, oh my God, what is he suggesting? What is he saying? Now look at this. This comes out next. unconditional surrender. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is. So now look at this threat. Look at this. He is an easy target, but he is safe there. We are not going to take him out. Kill, at least not for now. I like how he has to put kill in parentheses. I mean, this is like really juvenile. I'm telling you, man, this is not well thought through. I don't think that's not how thank you for telling us that you didn't just suggest murdering him and take him out. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah, that's the key right there, because they just told you how this is going to happen, right? If a shot goes off at an American base, it's going to automatically be blamed on Iran, not Israel. And the same way how they tried to do it with U.S. liberty to drag us into the war, they would do it to drag us into the war here. And they've already admitted now that regime change is going to be the goal if Americans get shot at, but only if Americans get shot at. For now, we're just talking about the nuclear program. Even though Netanyahu, who Trump has never came out and openly criticized, has been back and forth saying, regime change is what needs to happen. He's encouraged the people of Tehran and the people of Iran to rise up and overthrow their government right now. So Netanyahu is telling people that regime change is the goal. Trump is telling people the nuclear deal is the goal right now. But if you attack Americans, then we're going to go beyond the nuclear equipment and we're going for regime change too. So the ultimate goal does seem to be regime change. And I would say the spark we need to look for is when you hear an announcement on the news that an American base, has been attacked, or a tanker or an oil refinery or something along those lines. Like we've seen in Operation Northwoods, like the U.S. government has planned to do it to itself to justify consent for a war with Cuba. And the American government has also let Israel do it to us with the U.S. liberty thing that we never hold them accountable for. So don't think that American lives and American soldiers are off limits for these people when it comes to them achieving their goals. Everything is fair game for them.
Yeah. Well, just a reminder, and I think I'm gonna try and convince you to come a little over on my side here, Jay, as far as how much power Trump has and how much he's really playing this little delicate game versus he's not even in charge. Let's remind you, and this about Palantir. You guys have heard, if you've been watching our show, you've been hearing Palantir. This is the guy I would say has way more power right now than Trump. Way more. He gets to tell us the U.S. will very likely fight a three-front war against Russia, China, and Iran. Palantir's Alex Karp says, he said this back in August before the election. He knew his technology's already been implemented in ICE. So you guys know we're talking about the immigration issue. It's in everything. All the ICE raids, the Iran attack you just saw on Friday the 13th, everything is Palantir. COVID policy, Palantir. I don't know if you guys knew that. Working directly through NATO. Every NATO operation, every Israel operation, it's Palantir. So you get to, and not to mention the big, beautiful bill. Let's not forget the big, beautiful bill. You think Trump was like, hey, guys, before you put that out, can I put a little provision in here about how the states don't get to do anything about the AI clause for 10 years, just so Palantir can have even more power on a national level and control a private company controlling all of the databases, all of the tactical, coordinations of government agencies. They're going to be above that. So Alex Karp and Peter Thiel and my VP, J.D. Vance, will have more power than me. And it reminds me of a Bush and Cheney situation where we knew that Bush was just the guy that went on camera and said, we're going to smoke them out of their caves. And we knew he wasn't making the decisions. It was Cheney and the rest of them. It seems like that's what we have going on here. And there's less people aware of that now because they're too busy saying Trump, the dictator, and they don't understand he's not making these decisions. There's just no way, Jay. Before you respond about Palantir, can I also mention, just hold on to that thought. There's the Mossad. We talked about the Mossad being a target. There's a reason the Mossad was a target in Tel Aviv earlier in the segment. It's a massive problem. So let me connect the dots here, and I'll pass you the floor. But as we're re-looking back in the past, back at 2002, War on Terror, who was calling the shots? This might be the most important clip you guys see today. I was saving it for last year of the segment. This is the most important thing for you to see. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, who was part of the Pentagon in 2002, is going to explain to us who was actually running the Pentagon in 2002 up through today. Here you go.
It's unquestionable that the Epstein business was heavily influenced, let me put it that way, by Mossad.
And so that's somehow emblematic on these huge geopolitical issues.
Yes, I watched Mossad take over the Pentagon. In 2002, the Pentagon was infiltrated by Mossad. They did not need any identification to get through the river entrance of the building. They went upstairs to Douglas Feith, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, the third most powerful man in the Defense Department. Occasionally, they went to the second most powerful man, Paul Wolfowitz, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, and they had run of the Pentagon. Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense, said to my boss one time, "Hell, I don't run my building. Mossad does."
And there it is, guys. There it is. There's your connector. There's the follow-up question Amy Goodman never gave to Colonel Wesley Clark, when General Wesley Clark on her show, on her stage in 2012, when he said the top-down order was 7 countries in 5 years. She never followed up and said, who do you think gave that order? Not that he would have answered the question, but we're being told right now exactly who is running everything, and it was the Mossad. That was top down, coming from a foreign entity the entire time. So between Palantir telling us what their plan is, with their technology implemented into our laws, into our society, into our government agencies, between Palantir and the Mossad, please explain to me, somebody explain to me how Trump has any power in anything he does at all from this point moving forward. Oh, your mic.
That's a great question. So I like to answer it with an analogy, right? If you have a household, right? Let's call Palantir the wife, and let's call the government, which Donald Trump is leading right now, the husband, right? Right now,
who's the Mossad then in that equation?
The Mossad is on Palantir's side. Like they're
double.
Yeah.
So a big mom.
No, Mossad is the house next door. Sorry, so it's a little bit different. They're the house next door, but
or the landlord. How about the landlord? The landlord.
What was that?
What if Mossad is the landlord? I'm trying to help you out. You don't want to...
That's not Mossad. That's Zionist interest. But I get what you're saying. What you're saying. Right. So, but really quick, between Trump, and Palantir, right? We have to consider the fact that Palantir wouldn't exist without government contracts. So Trump right now could get on TV and say, Palantir is an un-American company. We should not be working with this entity because, they're going to bring in a totalitarian state. And Palantir, as a business model, would collapse, like if he followed through on that with legislation to prevent them from doing that, right? So the Palantir can't accomplish its goals without the American government actually getting out there and doing it. So, if the husband listens to his wife, right, every time she tells him to make a big purchase, like, I like that house, go buy that house, but the husband is the one who makes all the money, then who's the one who really has the power? You could say it's the wife, because she's the one telling the husband what to do and they're listening. But if the husband decides one day, you know what, I'm not going to listen to her anymore, I'm going to do my own thing. AKA if America said, I'm not going to listen to Israel anymore, I'm going to do my own thing, then Israel would actually cease to exist, because they wouldn't actually, I doubt they would exist, at least not in the apartheid form they're in right now, if they didn't have the unconditional support, of America backing up their every move. So I wouldn't say that Palantir is, they are controlling the government to an extent, but can Trump stop it? Of course he can. He's just not going to, because he's invested in the same interests and he's been running in the same circles long before he started his political career. Like Roy Cohn, don't forget, I keep bringing him up because Roy Cohn represented the merger between intelligence agencies and organized crime, aka the deep state, aka this Epstein network. And he was Trump's like introduction to politics. So I'm not going to give Trump, I'm sure Trump does make silly mistakes, but I do think overall he's a strategic person. He may not have the biggest vocabulary, but he's kind of smart. He knows how to read a crowd. So I'm not going to take those things away from Trump. So give him credit and realize that if the president didn't matter, then there would be literally no point in voting every 4 years. And they do have to at least keep the show up because the president does have power if they choose to use it. When you combine what they can do with the stroke of the pen and the power of the bully pulpit, because the president can command a lot more media attention than any other person on the face of this earth.
Well said. I think hard to argue with that, Jay. And I don't think any of us are saying that Trump doesn't have any skills. I clearly his best skill is working the crowd. Clearly, that's why he was handpicked by the deep state to be the face and the voice and the thumbs of the operation, to engage his crowd, do the shock and awe tweets in the middle of the night.
He knows how to do it. Camouflage. He has great sheet camouflage, essentially. So
yeah. So there you are. And so couple funny memes to end the segment, since we've been so dark and gloom and doom and all this Debbie Downer stuff. This guy, Mark Taylor pointed this out a few years ago, but it's still true today. If we lose Israel, then who will fund child sex rings for blackmail? That's a great question. We won't have anyone left to do the blackmail.
Listen, man,
so
secret societies, man, Skull and Bones, Freemasons, Knights Templars. I don't know if all of them are always involved in that stuff, but trust me, it didn't start with Zionism. They're just like the front men right now. They're the puppet behind. They're like a puppet of a puppet. Like I guess you could say the Zionist people are the puppets. The powerful Zionists are the puppets controlling those puppets. And then there's a puppet master behind all that. So
Yep, that's right. That's right. And then this one's a fun one because Elon had this up on his Twitter until he didn't. He had to take it off at some point. But that's why we have screen grabbing, which is really nice to see that at one point Elon thought this was funny. Iran wants war, but look how close they put their country to our military bases. Clearly, that's a sign of war. That's aggressive. That's aggressiveness, Jay. That's a sign of aggression where they put their country?
I think that was Elon's way of saying, give me more money, Israel, if you want me to shut up. Otherwise, I'm going to keep talking about you guys. So once they saw him put that up, they probably had to give him a few more contracts or, send a couple more dollars his way. So
he's like, what about me? Aren't I important enough to blackmail? Come on, fly me out there and drug me up and show me the footage that you'll never release in the morning. And then I'll go over to the Wailing Wall and do some teary-eyed.
I promise I'll touch the wall. I'll cry and everything. As soon as you put me in front of there, I'll tear up, whatever you need me to do, man.
And then he takes the tweet down. But that's why we have screen grabs and captures and all this stuff. So that's always good. I love it when people can grab that stuff. The internet never go away. Interwebs are there forever, as we all know. So there we go. That should do it for this week in World War III Watch. Okay. Jay, do we have you for just a little longer? Can we do a little No Kings breakdown real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, great. This is important because this subject, the No Kings rallies, which happened nationwide this past Saturday, were very sophisticatedly coordinated, very well structured. The messaging was clear because it was so vague. It was so clear. It was like the little tagline where we're talking about no kings. It means no fascism. We say no to these things. The reason why it was able to be coordinated so well was because this woman was the primary financier. This is the heiress, billionaire Walmart heiress, Christy Walton. She aligned herself with the No Kings rallies because she could control the narrative that way. I was out in, as you guys know, Jay, we were out at City Hall this weekend. We've been covering the protests from the beginning, which started a week prior. It started out in Compton, Paramount Compton, right by where the ICE raids were happening. And I will remind people, these ICE raids were very specifically targeted using Palantir technology. The offices that were right across from the Home Depot, that's where everything got started. And the provocateurs were in place, start a war in the street with the police, an excuse for Trump to call the National Guard, the fake battle between Trump and Gavin Newsom. Oh, by the way, I apologize to anyone who's hearing all this for the first time. I know it's a lot to process because I'm telling you stuff that you're not going to hear on any of your, so just try and keep up. So with all that said, you escalate, you create the chaos. We saw the chaos created on purpose. The police, people in the streets firing back. Obviously, it was a Latino population. LA is a Latino population majority. So the people affected by the raids, which were insane. By the way, just to be clear, those raids were insane. They were going into elementary schools, graduations. This was to get people afraid. The people that didn't have their papers, as you say, show me your papers. They did not. They had to hide in their houses. Family and friends and coworkers got in the streets. And then the provocateurs got their instructions, which was be violent, start fires. And the police had their instructions, which is, and they can't wait for this. This is what they're trained for. Our police trained by Israel, just to be clear, our police, LAPD, NYPD, trained by Israel. So they love it when they get the command, time to fire on the people that you're trying to protect, you're supposed to protect. So they love it. They fire. The whole rest of the country says, LA's in shambles. Now we bring in Palantir. Laura Loomer talking about it's time to bring in Palantir, teach everyone a lesson. So when does No Kings come into play? This is where Christy Walton comes into play. She buys up the movement, captures this. You guys can have your say no to ICE, or what are you guys saying? Abolish ICE? Yeah. You guys can do the abolish ICE. We're gonna put that to the number 2, and the top of the list is going to be No Kings, and that means stop Trump. That's all it means. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, Walmart has been the target of one of the biggest organized revolts against the billionaire class these past few years. The labor movement taking to the streets against Walmart. So it's funny that a Walmart family, the heiress here, could say, Christy Walton could say, hey, I'm going to align with you guys now and pretend, because it's all fake. I'm sorry for spoiler alert, guys, but it's fake. It's not real. But she's showing you, Trump is that bad. I'm willing to align with the people that were against me this whole time. That's how bad he is. Even though I supported Trump the whole way, all of a sudden, I uniquely think that it's weird that my last straw with him was having a birthday party with a stupid ass military procession, which everybody knows was a big joke. And we all should have been laughing at it rather than going, it's Hitler. Our military, it was so uncoordinated. It was so ridiculous. But I guess people in the street this weekend, it's a little different, Jay. I'm going to get to this now. Now the Latino voice gets kind of put to second tier. And now you have all the white older couples, the say no to Trump no matter what. They come out in droves carrying signs like this. And this is irony. If you guys know the definition of irony, this picture should be in the book of the definition of irony. People over billionaires.
At the protest funded by a billionaire. That's crazy.
Courtesy of Walmart. People over billionaires. And I'm not trying to mock the people. They had a legitimate concern, legitimate complaint. They know that our societies are broken, our economy's broken. They know that things are unstable. They know that there's a lot of MAGAs who will never challenge Trump at all, although there's some that are, which we talked about earlier. So with all that said, we went out there, and I was able to do a coverage for this for RT, and I was able to get the message out at the beginning of the day on Saturday to people all over Europe, Russia, everywhere that watch RT, and I was very grateful to have that opportunity. So this is I'm going to show my little report from the ground at City Hall before things got crazy on Saturday. Here we go. here at City Hall, downtown LA, for the official No Kings Day March. It's a nationwide march happening in pretty much every major city. The thing about the LA protests is that this one turns out to be, even though there's thousands of people here, it has more of a vibe of a street fair. We have a lot of older crowd, more white crowd. We're not seeing so much of the immigration issue. It's like it's become kind of the second issue. It's like we see the end ICE, abolish ICE. But the main thing is stop Trump the dictator. That is the main cause to come out here today. The problem is a lot of people here don't know who's funding this protest. They don't know about the Walton family, Walmart money going into this. And I think that's why it's so well organized, and I don't think we're going to see too many problems. Tomorrow, obviously, people will go home and say, see, there is no problems here. Everybody was lying about the previous days. And so I think that's going to be kind of by design. It's unfortunate that people don't know too much about the surveillance state that is being initiated. We know that Palantir has been working closely with ICE. And if anything, it'd be nice to see some signs out here that says abolish Palantir, because that's really the main problem that we all kind of share. But a lot of people just don't know that. It's not really their fault. They just haven't been told that. And that's on purpose. Another thing is, if you really want to solve immigration, you want to go back to the origins of it, which is American imperialism. And right now, we're pushing war with Iran. That's the thing that we should be most upset and furious about, because both parties are doing it equally. And we always got to be on the side of Israel. And that's really the greatest threat we have here. So again, well-intentioned, good people here. Probably nothing going to go wrong today here, but other parts of the country we have to look at as well, because there could be false flag operation in place. We'll have to see, or sleeper cell.
Great coverage, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you hit like so many important points, by the way, like, in a short time span, that I really hope people pay a lot of attention to what you said just now, man. So,
I mean, I'm trying to get more flexible and, able to go out in situations like that and do on the spot coverage. One of the things I know our show's been great at is the commentary after the fact, which is great. I mean, we tell people take time with things, like don't just start resharing stuff because you got emotionally affected by somebody that you look into stuff like take that time to do your due diligence, as they say, and figure out what's really going on, which we do every week on this show. And I appreciate it. You do this, Craig Pasta, everybody, we do this together. Mm-hmm. Going out on the field and having a commentary in that moment is the next level of it. Takes a little more. And I thank you for saying it's hard because you want time to process. You don't want to do the thing that you told. We're literally telling our audience, take time to figure out what's going on. And then they're like, okay, tell us what's going on immediately. I'm like, okay, let me just think. Let me get all the, because I want to get all the, like, what is not being seen, what is not being said. The one thing I got wrong, I'll admit it. My prediction was nothing was going to go wrong. Why did I think that? Well, because the damage had been done. The message had been sent. People said, bring Palantir into LA. There'd already been the provocateurs. We'd already seen the police respond, create this chaos, back and forth chaos. And then you had people, like I said in the report, showing up that weren't there last week. The older white people, they're the ones that they're furious. By the way, they were very triggered if you told them that there were problems the week before. They're like, what are you, Trumpers? No, we're trying to find out why there were problems. We're literally on your side of the protesters. Even though you don't really understand the messaging, even though you don't know what's happening tomorrow when you go home, you don't really know what's going on with the World War III watch, which we're covering. You don't know what's going on with Israel. You don't know what's going on with Palantir. We forgive you for not knowing that. You're victims of propaganda. However, we're still on your side. We believe in your right to protest. That's why we're trying to cover this. Again, I was wrong. I thought damage been done. So everyone go home. Well, guess what? They did go home. 4 o'clock was the time to exit. Not like there was some sort of curfew. We had a curfew at 8. I actually want to tell people a curfew was put on downtown LA at 8 p.m. This event ended at 4 p.m. So you had this little window where people were still going to be hanging around. Of course they should. Of course they should. Why should everyone? So anyways, 5 o'clock comes around and all chaos breaks loose, man. It is absolutely a war zone out there. I grabbed my camera. I wasn't able to do this for RT. I did my own on my camera phone, turned it around during the action and got one little moment to, again, in the moment, try and figure out what the hell is going on. So I'm going to play that right now. This unfortunately did not air on RT, but you guys are able to see it right here. Here we go. Okay, they're firing at the crowd right now. Nobody showed up here with any weapons. The weapons are all being provided by the police. They are shooting into the crowd right now. Peaceful protest. This is not going to end well. They just keep firing at us. I think we need to get to safety here. What started as a perfectly peaceful protest has now been infiltrated by the police themselves. They didn't even need an excuse to start firing. They just started firing. Here we go. Okay, they're still doing it. 40 some major injuries already earlier, but now they're just gonna. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna have to get over to a safer place. I don't know where that might be because they kind of got the whole place surrounded. There's this city hall right over here. Right there.
Yeah, I think the point is to scare people, man. They want people afraid to protest.
Yeah, this is not going to end well. It's unbelievable that they could create this state of chaos by lining up their trained IDF police, which are trained by Israel, line up and attack the people they're supposed to be protecting. That's what they're doing right now. They're moving in on the people right now. See, they're coming. They're walking. They're not done. Firing into the crowd right now. Why? To create the chaos.
It's to scare people, man, create the chaos. Like you said, there was nothing the crowd was doing that would warrant any of those reactions. They just want people terrified to get out and protest, because the truth is, if we protest against, some of the stuff that's happening right now, it can create a lot of problems for them. The system depends on mass compliance, and protest means mass compliance. Like mass protest means mass compliance is no longer viable. So, it's one of the issues I would say they care, the most about. So,
yeah, it's really a shame that more people don't understand this philosophy, especially people coming from the right that are really, pro-Constitution, pro freedom of speech. I know there are a lot of Second Amendment gun nuts over there, and I get that. I mean, we have to care about every amendment equally, but like the free speech one, we should all be on that. That's important. Like, you're talking about the right to protest, and they're so quick to take the bait when the messaging goes out that, oh, Antifa is out of control, radical lefties are out of control. The police have to respond to how out of control. None of that's true. It's all fake. And the aha moment I had was last week. I thought you had to create the problem in order to justify the reaction. So you have and you did have to do that the previous week. You had to have infiltrators in the crowd that were there to start the problem. This weekend, I realized, man, you don't even need to do that. They could just start firing. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say with this weekend in particular, because there was already images earlier that week, the precedent had already been set. So if it was a brand new protest and nothing had happened before that, in the same city, maybe, like they wouldn't have been so bold about it. But just given everything that's happened in LA over the past week, you can see why they would feel more entitled to react like that, because in their mind, the narrative is already going in their direction. So it's going to be, an easy sell. So, yeah.
And there were a ton of injuries. I want to be clear. And we got reports around the country. There was one death in Utah. So so this is just so people understand, this was highly coordinated, a highly sophisticated, coordinated attack by the police. Cell phones got messages, coordinated messages when the time was right. I don't think it was exactly at the same time in every state, but every city at one point, and you might have gotten this message. It said that the protesters were deemed unlawful. That message went out. Now, is that false? No, they can deem whatever they want. They can say we deem it unlawful, just like they can put anybody on an FBI most wanted list. It's like, that's not true? Well, it is, because we said it is. We said you're on the list because you're on the list. We said they're unlawful because we said they're unlawful, so they're unlawful. Well, people assume that means they did something. No, they didn't. And this is how we know, because every city got it, which means every single protest happened to be unlawful. What if one wasn't unlawful? Do you think, if you're a police nut, do you think that particular city would have said, let's not send the text out in this one because these guys seem cool? So you guys understand that this is coordinated in advance to call it unlawful, then start firing. That's what happened. One death in Utah. It was somebody it was like an American, America's Got Talent contestant got shot, got killed. That happened. Another person, innocent protester in Atlanta, got their eye taken out. We heard that happen. But the injury, I mean, we had injuries in LA. This is just one quick one. With the rubber bullets. This guy got shot in the back of his head, right at his ear. Very dangerous.
Yeah.
Just one of them. We had tons of them, people on the ground. This is just one I happened to catch. That was just one I happened to catch.
Yeah, a lot of injuries, over the past week between all the protests. I've heard there's even been, more traffic going in and out of the hospitals over there in LA because of, everything that's been going on. So, it's truly a sad, situation, because if people would be more specific, I believe, with what they're protesting for, and not just be out there protesting against, like things they don't like, I think it would be a way to pressure the government on specific policies. Like, if they got out there with the No Kings protest and said, we want money out of politics, we want election system reform without voter fraud. And if, there were actual demands behind the protest, then you wouldn't have seen that Walton money, like get behind it and then push that message out. So I just hope people realize, if you're gonna be like, by all means, make your voice heard, but the more targeted your ask can be, in my opinion, the more effective, the protest is going to be. Because just protesting Trump without having a specific reason, I don't really see what that solves. Like there has to be, are we protesting the Iran-Israel war? Are we protesting, whatever it is, anything Trump's done, like the privatized CBDCs being rolled out through stable coins? Is that what we're protesting? No.
We know they're not protesting. We know they're not protesting the mRNA gene therapy. We know that they don't care about that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, keep giving the mRNA shots to kids and pregnant women, and just protest against No Kings, like stuff we hate. Like that's what the protest is.
But they will tell you that they want to impeach Trump. Okay, well, he's been impeached twice the first term. The first one was for a phone call to Zelensky, which it's like, why don't you want to make a phone call to Zelensky? That's interesting. Back in 2017, 2018, I was like, oh, that's interesting. You don't want to have that phone call. Anyways, that aside, know what you're protesting, know what the demands are. So what? So the demand is get rid of Trump. Okay, then what's next? So he's out.
Vance.
Let's say Monday morning, he's out. They got him. You did it. You guys. Yay!
Is JD Vance going to be that much of a better president, man? That's my question for everyone who thinks getting Trump out is the answer. Yeah. Because Trump's been cheerleading, the Iran-Israel thing. So I'm sorry, Vance has been cheerleading it. So.
Vance has been cheerleading. All the technocrats have been cheerleading it. Everyone's been cheerleading it. The only people on the side, and I do have to give credit. We brought up these guys last time, earlier in the show. Marjorie Taylor Greene, adamantly vocal. This is not America first. F you, Tucker, all them, Candace. We know that's good. It's good. We don't, because we never saw, by the way, we never saw anyone being vocal that voted for Biden in 2020. Anytime Biden got us into a proxy war, started a genocide, locked everyone down and destroyed small businesses, destroyed our kids, didn't get the back of the labor movement. It's like on and on. Oh, by the way, he's not demented. How dare you, you stupid ageist. He's got a stutter. like that type of shit, and you didn't hear anybody say, this doesn't seem right. Where's our primary? Who's this drunk cackling idiot that you put in front of us that no one voted for? They don't do that on the left. I at least want to give credit to the MAGAs, to half of them. Half of the other half are psychopaths.
They're loud right now. They're loud.
Tribal people. But you know what? Give them some credit. They say, we did not vote for this. And you should be the first ones to be angry because you're the one who voted. So you say, I voted for you. This isn't what I signed up for. How dare you? So good to hear that. That's good.
Yeah, you know, they've been pretty vocal, you know, like in their critiques of him. And unfortunately, until the left learns that, like, they're not going to be able to draw anyone else over, like, to their own side because, you know, well, not the left, I should say, until the Democrats learn that, because it's the Democrats in particular, you know, like who have the worst issue there. So, you know, we'll see. You know, I am at least hopeful that most of the country identifies as independent, you know, moving forward. So, you know, this could be a moment in time where, you know, maybe we can start talking about the root causes of these issues. But the question is, you know, are people willing to work together where we agree first and then leave the differences aside for later? Because I still stand by what I say, Matt. We can prevent what's happening by rolling out a new digital Bill of Rights, by fixing corruption in the system, and by ending the wars. And I think the right and the left could easily come together on those topics. So hopefully independents start thinking more in a populist mindset rather than, you know, just left or right mindsets. And, you know, populism is key. I think that's the path forward. So don't let it all be doom and gloom today, guys. Like, find people you disagree with on one issue and look for another issue you agree with them on. And I guarantee most people can find areas we agree. 99% of people can find areas we agree.
And we're much stronger that way. And when you show up to a rally, guys, just word of advice, when you show up to a rally and a billionaire tells you you can only have a particular sign, it's going to say no kings, stop Trump. You can show up with your Nazis, your swastikas on a Trump caricature all you want. Make sure you have your stop the billionaires. When your rally looks like this, and the people that wanted to come with their stop NATO signs and stop imperialism signs and stop Zionism signs, those people were told to go home. When you show up and you see this, understand that your movement has been captured and it's not real. They're taking advantage of you, and you need to just be better about what is actually going on, so we avoid this in the future. So look for these red flags. That's what we wanted to tell you. Jay, I appreciate conversation today. A lot of great insight and reflection on everything that's happening. So, things are going so fast, so I'm glad we get to just stop for one moment and look at everything, because it's going to get even crazier. And by next week, I'm sure we're going to have a whole nother slew of things to go through. But thanks so much for your time, Jay. Really appreciate it.
No problem, Matt. Thank you for all the, you know, hard work you're putting in out there, getting all the footage, you know, like across LA. Keep covering the important stories, man. So catch you soon.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Jay. Everyone, Jay Scott. See you next time. Okay. If you guys are just joining us, we've been talking about the Iran, Israel, U.S. escalation of World War III. We've been talking about the No Kings rally and the capture from the billionaire class and the continued divide of the red and blue in our country, and how we have to do better as people with voices, I guess, and get on as many platforms as we can, have these conversations. And you guys out there can have these conversations, share out what we do, share out our segments with your friends, family, coworkers. When you guys get the email, this Rumble, if you guys are subscribing to Rumble, and you get an email of some of our videos, you guys should share them out if it connects with you. If it connects with you, the segments, we're very specific about the topic. And if you think that might be the difference maker with a friend or a family, send it to them. And maybe it might make them go, huh, I didn't think of that before. So we can all do our part. We try to do our best here on the show. Keep our live feeds up. They're all up on our Rumble channel. You can go back and watch. If you guys are late today, you can go back and rewatch. We never take them down. We never take down our lives on Rumble. But we do have our YouTube channel. We're hoping to be monetized very soon now. That's important. They've screwed with us. You guys know they took away. When I say they, I'm telling you, Google, YouTube terminated our channel. They said our conversations on this channel were too dangerous for their community. So the Homeless Left no longer exists on YouTube. THL Presents exists on YouTube. So if you guys can type it in, I've heard that you can't just search it. You have to type in youtube.com/@THL Presents. Then it'll come up. But please do that. We're really excited about the momentum we've had. We've only had the channel for 5 months, and it's growing. We had one video that blew up. Over all the rest, other ones are doing very well too. But this one, really, we're about to hit 100,000 on it, which is amazing. And I think that's why we're able to get this monetization. We just hope that we don't get red flagged again. But whatever, if we do, we'll just think of a new name. We'll think of a new name. As Michael Scott said, you can shut down my business. I can have another business by tomorrow. I never run out of names. Support us on locals if you guys are able to do that, or just do like a Rumble rant for us. We appreciate that every once in a while. We always like to read your guys' comments. I'm going to be doing a talking back later in the show, so you guys can throw your comments up on Rumble, on Twitter, even on THL Presents on YouTube. We'll get to all the comments, or at least the best ones, or the ones that are fitting in the conversation. We can't get all of them, but please, and I know you guys have a bunch up there now. We'll get to them later. In Talking Back, we'll be doing Talking Back with you later in the show. We are going to take a 2-minute right now and then come back with, we have two more segments for you guys. Yes, we do have, let's see here. Yes, we do have This Week in Hollywood and a Loudest Voice of the Week. And we'll be doing Talking Back. So don't go anywhere. We got another hour show for you guys coming up very soon. Thanks so much, and we'll see you back here in about, let's give it about 2-3 minutes tops. We don't need 5 minutes. I know with Craig Pasta, you guys he needs 5 minutes. We only need to do 2 or 3. So we'll do 2 or 3 minutes. We'll see you guys back here soon. Don't go anywhere. This week in Hollywood, coming to you guys live right here in the heart of Hollywood. Actually, we're right on the outskirts. We call it Hollywood. We also call it Zio Hollywood, whatever your nickname is for it. We're here to break down the goods and bads of the week coming from here. We do have kind of a good news this week because, as you guys know, it's very hard for actors here and performers, entertainers, people in the spotlight, very hard for them to stand up against Zionism, against Israel, have anything to say about peace in the Middle East, even general comments made about the people were murdering in Gaza, the people were starving to death in Gaza, the children were blowing up limbs and targeting hospitals and journalists and destroying the entire infrastructure and a complete annihilation. And now moving into some sort of position where we're going to start World War III and be part of this invasion of Iran and escalate that as well. So we're not really allowed to say those things around here. We have to be pro-Ukraine, have Ukraine flags in our socials. You don't necessarily have to have an Israel flag, but when you talk about Israel might being the problem, you're called anti-Semitic. That's the name. That's the name of the game here. And you just don't see too much pushback. There was a surprise when we saw an actor we didn't know was being vocal. I might not have been paying attention, or maybe he just chose now. He said, you know what? I'm sick of being quiet about it. But Javier Bardem went on The View, and he had something to say about Israel. And I think it was the way he presented it that these cuckling hens, as you guys know, that run this show, they yap, yap, yap all day long. Their job is to pretend to be doing honest commentary, thoughtful, intelligent commentary on politics, when their whole job is just to simplify things for their audience and make sure you sheep herd everyone back into the Democratic Party and stay there at all times, no matter what. And if the Democrats lose, it's because of racism and sexism. And that's their job, to do that. However, when Javier Bardem started talking, they kind of had to let him finish the sentence until the music cued him off, because you can't say too much about the children who are blowing up in Gaza. Check it out. Javier Bardem on The View.
The situation in Gaza, which I see your, and of course they have to return those hostages, obviously. But the situation in Gaza is come to a term now where I cannot express the pain that I, along with many millions of people there, suffered on a daily basis watching those horrible images of children being murdered and starving to death, being absolutely blocked the aid of medicines, water, medical material, food, kids that have been amputated without anesthesia. Yeah. People that yesterday they were shot, 25 people were shot while they were looking for humanitarian aid in what they call the Hunger Games. Mm-hmm. I mean, experts on international law, experts on international Amnesty International, international human rights, and some people that know what they're talking, and Holocaust survivors are calling a genocide for it. And if you ask me, I believe it's a genocide. Why is that? First of all, because the impunity that is taking Israel in doing these actions and the lack of action on any government is, of course, the backup of United States with all these weapons and the economics, and also.
Now you're going too far there, Javier. Now you're implicating us as not, so we're not just onlookers going, oh, that's too bad. Okay, oh yeah, you're right, that's bad. No. We're writing the check. We're writing the check, and it's not a Trump thing. Because God damn it, how easy would that be if it was just a Trump thing? That'd be so easy. Because then those cackling hens could just be like, yeah, Trump is a racist. He hates Palestinians because they're brown skinned. And that would be great if he did that. Because that would be obviously insincere, but it would help their narrative about Trump and Trump. Interesting that they're not doing it. Interesting that those cackling hens are just not able to interrupt him. A couple times they tried to, but they really don't know what their angle is. I think they're very confused about how to challenge him, because if you challenge him, then you're agreeing with Trump. And what he's saying is not a Trump and Biden Harris. It's not red and blue. This is our country doing this to the rest of the world. This is not about politics in the sense of red and blue, the way the View women want it to be about. And I think that's why it's hard for them to interrupt him right here. Unfortunately, the tech people, they're on headset and they're being told by the producer, you better play him off with that music soon. So that's coming. Just wait for that. But this is good. I love this.
The silence of Europe is creating in a scenario where there's such an impunity that if we really don't do something about that, we are going towards what is happening now. And an absolute impunity on creating wars all over and creating so much pain that is going to affect so many people.
Yeah.
But also...
Yeah. Hey, can we stop now? Are you done?
With this, I will finish. The most important thing is to not lose the humanity and really denounce when we have to denounce and who we have to denounce.
Javier, come back.
Oh my God. Thanks for that, Mr. C Newsbusters. Thanks for that clip. That's awesome. I mean, woo! We would have put this on loudest voice of the week, but we got another one for you guys for that one that took the cake on it this time. So we'll get to that one. But man, Javier Bardem, I mean, standing up like that and doing that in a room where, like I'm saying, they don't know how to respond. They're just going, yeah, that's true. And again, if you ever see The View, you guys know their job is to say Trump, racist, evil, Hitler, Trump. Why wouldn't you do it now? Ask yourself that. Why wouldn't you do that now if that's your job? That's your thing. Why not? It would fit so beautifully. You're right, Javier. You're right. Look at what Trump's doing. That racist piece of shit. How dare he bomb brown-skinned kids? Easy. That's easy. Why don't you think why do you suppose Whoopi Goldberg, by the way, changed her last name to Goldberg? That's weird. Huh. Why wouldn't you go in for the kill? Oh, Matt, it's because they know that Biden's the one that... No. Come on. That's an easy. People's short attention spans. There's people right now that don't want to know that Biden started the genocide. They don't want to know. So that's not the problem. You can easily start the narrative now. Look what Trump's uniquely doing. They do it with the raids. They do it with the ICE raid. They do it with the deportations. Trump's uniquely starting it now. Oh, right, because Obama never did that. Obama didn't deport double the amount of people per day. Obama deported 1,200 people per day. Trump deports 600 a day. Did you know that? I bet the people at The View don't know it. And if they did know it, they don't give a shit because that's not. So again, it's easy to make it a Trump problem. It's easy to say Trump is uniquely racist. Never mind Biden's crime bill. Biden targeting young black males in the hood, saying they're dangerous. They're going to rape your daughter, rape my mother. We got to get them in jail. Take everything from them. If they have a quarter of crack, which the CIA planted into the streets, by the way, if we find you with a quarter of crack, you're done. You scary black man. That's the most racist policy we've ever had in our country. So, okay, we can go on and on. I can list you example after example of why criticism of Trump is not actually uniquely. It's the whole system. It's easy to target. So again, why wouldn't you go in for the kill and do the thing you do with everything? Trump's uniquely racist. Trump's uniquely war hungry. You can't do it because your Zionist overlords that run the show, that run the station, that run your careers won't let you. That's why. And Javier Bardem knows this. And Javier Bardem knows he's getting pushback for this. He knows that he's going to get articles like this coming out from the Daily Mail. Javier Bardem was cut off on The View after suggesting he suffers on a daily basis for the people of Gaza and said Israel was committing genocide. So here's the framing. Here's what you do. You present him as somebody who is selfish and saying, I'm suffering. How dare How dare he? Okay, go on, Daily Mail. The Oscar winner was speaking to conservative panelists, these fools who wear yellow pins every day to support Israeli hostages. Well, he was speaking to the whole group. That was, they're all neo-lib neocons. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. Whoopi Goldberg isn't a neocon. Yeah, of course she is. She's like, oh, she loves that Dick Cheney voted for Harris. Oh, yay. Abruptly, the show, so this is after his little speech, which you guys heard, which was fantastic. After it abruptly, the show cut back to Goldberg, who said, Javier, come back, very awkwardly, the long-running ABC chat fest. And I like they call it a chat fest. It's a chat fest, except when Javier Bardem was talking, they didn't know what to do. Then went straight to a commercial to somewhat muted applause. You know why it was a muted applause? Because there was no applause sign on, and it was. I bet you the stage guy came out and said, no, don't applaud. So that was probably manufactured. That's my guess, because it did seem very awkward. The whole thing was awkward. A source at the show decided that they were simply running out of time and needed to head to a break. Oh sure, okay. Well, now really get him. Get him, guys. Get him. A source of the show decided that they were. Oh, I already read that. However, several viewers were alarmed by Bardem's statements. Again, the View becomes a hotbed for political hatred and anti-Semitism. Hate. Actor Javier Bardem claims he's suffering as much as the people. There it is. There's the spin. Claims he's suffering as much as the people in Gaza as he parrots Hamas propaganda. There you go. Another social media user reminded people that ABC considers this part of their news product. Controversy at ABC. English is Javier Bardem's second language. Stupid is his first. Added another on X. Javier Bardem knew that was coming. He didn't care. He did it anyway. You see, The View, again, their story is Democrats can do no wrong. Republicans are racist and sexist. That's their story. So they can't really have any nuanced discussion about anything. And that's what they do. They dumb down their audience and they make it about women power. And there's nothing women power about dumbing down your conversations to a blue can do no harm, red bad, evil. That's not a nuanced discussion. That's not intelligent. It's dumb. And then when you parade people on your show like Kamala Harris and just the girls hanging out, and you parade Biden on the show pretending he doesn't have full-blown dementia. Well, I'm going to remind you again, if you guys think that they cannot spin this and say this is uniquely Trump. I'm going to explain why. Here's a reminder of what Kamala Harris ran on, and she was regularly on The View talking about women power and America better be ready for a colored white woman. I'm sorry, a colored woman, a person of color who's a woman. Let's see if they're ready. If they're not ready, that means they're just they're racist and sexist. That's their that's the level of their intellect. But Kamala, make no mistakes, Kamala's policy was exactly the same as Biden's, exactly the same as Trump's when it comes to the Middle East and how we present ourselves to the rest of the world. Here's a reminder of that.
Some foreign policy. Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have proof that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals at this moment.
Oh my God. Let's look at her face again. This person right here. This could have been your president, everyone. In the same situation we're in right now. In the same, oh yeah, she would have done much better. She would have stuck it to Netanyahu. Oh yeah. it wouldn't have been Tulsi Gabbard telling you that. She hates Tulsi Gabbard. You guys know Tulsi took her out in 2020. You guys remember that one? That was awesome. That's a classic. That's an oldie but a goodie. When Tulsi Gabbard took Kamala Harris, literally single-handedly knocked her out of the freaking race in 2020. So there's no way Tulsi would have been the director of intelligence. That would not have happened. But it would have been someone else telling her, President Harris, I want you to know that Iran does not have nuclear capability. They stopped their program in 2003. I want you to know that. And then Netanyahu calls you up and says, we're going to a war with Iran. And you're going to just say that they have the nuclear weapons. And oh, yeah, she would have said, I don't believe you, Netanyahu. I'm going to do what's right for the people. No, same thing. And that's why The View ladies cannot comment on Javier Bardem. They can't double down and say it's a unique racist problem, power-hungry, warmongering problem of Trump. They cannot do that because it's also a racist, power-hungry, warmongering problem of Kamala and Biden and the entire Democratic Party, along with the entire Republican Party. There you go. Javier Bardem, though, he has no problem going on other places, other platforms, and continuing it, what he's saying. He's not going to back off. So to end this segment, one more punching up by Javier Bardem on behalf of the children of Gaza. Take it away, Javier, with Variety. I think they covered this with him on a red carpet event very recently. Here we go.
Also more focus on what it matters, like this matters. Of course this matters, and we are celebrating movies, and Variety celebrates movies, but also we cannot forget about what happened in the real world while we're celebrating fiction. Real world, in Gaza are dying thousands of children of starvation, and it's a genocide taking place in front of our eyes in 4K. And American support has to stop financing bombs that are killing so many thousands of children. And the Western European countries has to start doing actions, taking actions into cutting ties with Israel, and not enough with the words, more actions.
Javier Bardem, awesome. We need more like you. We need more like you in this town. We need more like you to speak up against your management, against your movie studios, against the talk shows that parade you around, promoting your films, saying the talking points that you're told to say, staying quiet about the things you're told to stay quiet about. We need more Javier Bardems in this town of Hollywood. If we could get more courage from people in his position like him, maybe we could turn this town around at some point. I don't know. A lot of actors are flocking. They're fleeing. They're going to Austin to shoot films. Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, Billy Bob Thornton. They're out. They're gone. They said we had enough. We had enough of this town. This bullshit, DEI, Hollywood, Zionist shit. I don't think a lot of them put Zionist into the thing, but it's all part of the same problem. It's all about this top down. We control what you do. You're a mouthpiece for us. You shut up. You get in line. And that's it. That's it. So more Javier Bardems going on The View. Just more of that. That's it. Okay, that's This Week in Hollywood. Let's move on to, actually, you know what? I think it's time to take your guys', I want to respond to some of your guys' comments. We've had some great ones throughout the day. I'm going to try and do this thing. We're going to start with the top. Let's get through this, and then we'll have one more segment after this. We're going to do a loudest voice of the week for you guys. Let's get to it. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. You guys ready? Let's do it. Talking back with Matt. Here we go. We're starting talking back, but it looks like we have got right off the bat. I got to say hello to Do Dissonance. We have a raid, a Rumble raid going on right now. Love it, love it, love it. This is great. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Homeless Left, a non-tribal approach to news. That's what we do here. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays with you guys, going through the day's stories. We talk to guests. We've had Due Dissidents. We've had Keaton on with us a couple times. So shout out to the DD boys over on Due Dissidents. I know you guys do like a 3-hour show before you come over and you go off and do other shows. And so we love it when you guys stop in and say hi and welcome to your welcome your viewers to our show. If you guys haven't heard of us, this is what we do, right in line with you guys. It's non-tribal approach to news. Of course, when we become non-tribal, we break off from the two-party duopoly and we start being critical, using our critical thinking skills. When we comment on the day's news and the day's happenings, we get more pushback than anyone else because we get all of the sides coming at us, telling us, you're with those guys. How dare you criticize us? So it's something we sign up for. We know we have to have tough skin for this, but we appreciate all of the people that help us do this and do this every day. Again, we do this twice a week, but it's an all week, all out, all the time, trying to get this stuff right, asking the questions we need to ask, and engaging with you guys. So you happen to be here right when we started our Talking Back segment. So we're going to do some of the comments right now. And so again, welcome. Thank you for being here. And shout out to the DD boys for doing this. Okay. So, and Rumble, man, this is good that Rumble, isn't that cool that Rumble added a Rumble raid? What I learned about it was that it comes from Twitch. I guess there used to be Twitch raids, and it's very cool because it shows that the community can get each other's backs and help elevate, because we do this kind of together. We do this as a team. It takes a village. It takes a village to be non-tribal. So let's go through some of this. Oh, look at this. Jungle Jer. Matt's moving up. Keep logging those interviews. Well, of course. I mean, this is like, it's not about moving up. It's about taking the opportunities that we have. And thank you for the comment, Jungle Jer. This is what this is about, is we happen to be in LA. We happen to have shit go down here. We happen to have, from this point, we happen to have so much conflict happen here in LA when it comes to, we had the LA fires. We've had, these riots and protests and all this, psyop happening from the police, from everything. So we've been covering all this. And then we were just at the No Kings here at City Hall covering that. So because of that, people want to hear what we have to say, and we're able to get on to the, get on these shows and say what is happening on the ground. And we're able to get on RT and get our message out to the world, not just to this general vicinity, but out to as many people as possible. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to hold off on the rest of the comments right now. We're going to circle back to that in a little bit and do some more talking back. So you guys stay tight. I think what we need to do right now, because I told you before, and I don't want to not do this because this is important. This is actually very important. We're going to do the loudest voice of the week, and I told you guys during the Hollywood segment that Javier Bardem was going to get that loudest voice for what he did on The View. But the thing is that there was something that happened that just kind of overshined that and made it a little more important. So we have to make this the loudest voice, and it's a little more serious of a topic as far as getting a message out. So I think I have this one loaded now. Yeah, this one's important. Let's do this. We're going to do loudest voice of the week, and then we'll come back to your guys' comments in a minute. So here we go. Hold on to your seats, guys. This one, this is going to be intense. This is going to be intense. Here we go. It's time for the loudest voice of the week. The loudest voice of the week. This is a segment we usually reserve for the most shocking, the most crazy, the moment where power gets called out on the loudest platform in the most awkward way. Most people sharing it on Twitter, whatever it is, or it's in the middle of a protest, or sometimes it's a response inside of a protest, or an interruption or a disruption. We featured a lot of disruptions against powerful people with a lot of people watching. Those are the type of things that usually make the loudest voice of the week. This time's a little different. I'm going to play for you a video that we were sent this morning. And I think you guys have heard of this source before. It's from Anonymous. And Anonymous, once in a while, will deliver a message. There's you guys know the mask that Anonymous wears. These are serious messages that they send out, and I say they because I'm not sure that the team behind Anonymous here, but the message this time is very important because it's a subject we've been covering as we cover World War III Watch. We had Dr. David Martin on talking about what is the next event 201 going to happen? What is the next thing? What is this false flag? So the words false flag have been in the air lately. We were looking for false flag operations throughout these protests here in LA, throughout the country, specifically on Flag Day, on Trump's birthday. We thought, there's going to be a false flag. We saw the murders happen in Minnesota. The very strange occurrences there. Was that a false flag? So we're keeping our eyes open, and we're gonna break this down. But I'm gonna play you guys the video right now from Anonymous, and just hold on to your seats for this. This is pretty intense, but we're gonna take this as seriously as we can, considering it is a prediction. It's not real. This is not reporting on something that has happened. It's a report on something that is said to be happening. So take it for a grain of salt if you want, but listen to what he has to say, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. Here's Anonymous, who's getting this week's loudest voice of the week. Here we go.
Hello, my fellow citizens of America and others across the globe. This is the architect, speaking on behalf of Anonymous. 17 days remain until we release everything. But first, there's something we feel the need to bring to light now. It may not be able to wait. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a warning based on extremely reliable intelligence. We have acquired verified information that a major attack is being planned on domestic soil. It will be brutal, it will be visible, and it will be blamed on a foreign faction, one from the Middle East. But that is a lie. The operation is a false flag, orchestrated not by a foreign enemy, but by an elite shadow alliance within a nation that poses as our greatest ally, but instead is a hyper-militarized power with deep influence through sexual blackmail in our intelligence, government, and media sectors. The goal? To drag us into their war, under the guise of retaliation. But the real motive isn't justice. It's control, resources, power.
Okay, pause there. So we've heard this. This is the type of language we've been hearing a lot of. And he's not saying it by name, but you guys know how we like to say it too. Sometimes we don't have to say it by name. Sometimes we just have to give you a little hint, little clue. In this case, I'll give you the hint. If you guys haven't picked up on it, I'll give you the hint. Here it is. It starts with the letter I, and it rhymes with Schmizrael. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's it. So take a guess. But this is the sexual blackmail. There's a list here of things, of qualifications to be that thing. But he doesn't have to say it. He doesn't have to say it. But he's telling you. So let's continue. Let's continue with this message.
A goal they can only achieve by using us as their puppets. They know that once blood is spilled here, the public will beg for retribution. They're counting on your fear. They're counting on your outrage. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. This is not just about geopolitics. This is about the manipulation of a population through violence, fear, and engineered narrative. In the next few days, weeks, or months, this will happen. It's a guarantee. The irrefutable proof of what's being planned is in this message. You don't have to believe us now. Just know when you see it who the true terrorists are. It is not who they will say it is. It will come from none other than our own greatest ally. When you see it, you will understand the scale. You will understand the pattern. If we stay silent, we walk into the trap. But if we stand together, share the truth, and refuse to be played, we can stop it. Or at the very least, wake the nation and the world up to what's actually happening. You are not powerless. You are not alone. Prepare. Stay alert. And above all, think for yourself. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Okay, let's get the part out of the way that's right in your face. Very theatrical. You got the music. You got the little GGG up front. You got the GGG on the back. Unfortunately, that's enough to turn off some people. But I don't know. I don't think this video is for people that are being red pilled / black pilled for the first time. That's not who this video is for. This video is for us. This video is for us. We understand these things. Look, I get the theatrics. It's kind of like we're in a movie, like we're literally living in a movie, because that's how this scene would be produced when the people got the message, and you'd have the shots of the main characters looking at each other and back at the TV and like, come on, you got to see this, and there would be a little clip of it in the trailer, right? So you would shoot around the video, but the music fits that vibe, right? This anticipation that we're in the middle of this blockbuster film that's going to be, action, suspense, Born Identity / whatever, Armageddon, whatever you want to call it. Actually, it's more like Minority Report meets Terminator 2 meets 2001: Space Odyssey. I mean, there's a list of movies. You can't forget V for Vendetta. That's the whole presentation, the V for Vendetta. But movie references aside, the content, the reason I say this is for us is because we've been doing the work. You've been doing the work. We've had Dr. David Martin on the show. We were let's be totally transparent about this. The very second stop he made one stop first. Another podcast. I forget the name of the podcast. It's a one on Rumble, just like we're primarily on Rumble. We were the second stop. He wanted to come to the Homeless Left. We were very fortunate, and it was within less than 24 hours. He made the rounds. We were the second stop, and we had this conversation about what did he present to us? He presented the national blueprint for bioterrorism. It was a template, a simulation. We'll do air quotes, simulation of what they were planning to do on July 4th. He compared it to Event 201. Those of you guys who've been following the COVID investigation over all these years, we've been doing the show. That's how we started. The medical freedom community started with something's wrong with COVID. We understand this was an attack, not just on the American people, on the people of the world. But Event 201 was a simulation where what are we going to do if this COVID thing hits the states, or what do we do? How do we control the narrative and keep people in line? So we know that happened. It happened a year before COVID. It's documented. It's called Event 201. Dr. David Martin showed us this pamphlet. It's called the National Biodefense or Bioterrorism Manual for July 4th. It's in the manual. I'll bring up a page just to remind you guys, this is in it. This is exactly we've already gone through this. This is a 180 page document specifically telling us that a bioterrorist attack would be on July 4th, 2025. Of course, they will tell us, no, this is just a simulation. It's a what if. It's a hypothetical. Well, they had the same hypothetical for COVID. And they didn't have a particular date, but they knew it was going to be COVID-19 in 2020, lock down the entire planet, bring out the jab for everyone, bring out the jab. So in this scenario, 280,000 Americans are infected and at least 400,000 throughout the country. 280,000 are killed with the attack, whatever that attack looks like. And then an additional 400,000 are infected throughout the country in a single day, which they're claiming hypothetically would be on July 4th. Now, why did I bring this up after Anonymous's video? Well, he doesn't mention this pamphlet. He doesn't mention this bioterrorism manual, does he? No. But what he does say right at the beginning of the video, he says 17 days. Do the math. 17 days. I got to fix the thing here. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, guys. Little camera blur. Okay, fix that. 17 days. Let's see. Do the math. July 4th. July 4th. Maybe a coincidence. Maybe a coincidence. Now the interesting part is that we shared the video, the Dr. David Martin interview that we did. You know what? I'm going to play a little clip so you guys can see this. We put this up on our Twitter, and I got the most it's the most engagement we've ever had, ever. The interview itself, I think it's up to 40,000 views on Rumble, which is extremely good for us. On Twitter, we put the 5-minute clip up. It's got half a million people have seen this that we put up on Matt Weinglass Twitter. 500,000 people saw this. So this is good. And in the tweet, we give you guys the link to download the manual, download the pamphlet so you can read 178 pages yourself. You can read this. Here's a clip of him explaining it to our audience, and then again, getting it out to 500,000 people in Twitterverse. Check it out.
Are not speculations. I'm literally reading off the page. And people sit back and go, well, they certainly wouldn't be doing that. Well, I don't know. How are we doing so far? Our batting average so far is I've been right about these things every single time.
Yeah.
The only intervention we can do is to actually make sure we get ahead of the story so it becomes difficult for the story to be plausible.
So he's about getting it out. Now, of course, there were a lot of naysayers and attackers that say, oh, Dr. David Martin works closely with this or that, or CIA, this and that. And you know what? Everyone's connected to something. We that's fine. The way we conduct the show here at the Homeless Left, we bring people on to have conversations. We work with the information we have at the time. We push back when necessary. If we can do it, you've seen us push back. We've pushed back to interviews. With Dr. David Martin, there was nothing to push back on. There was, let's get this out. Let's look at it. Let's ask questions about it. So Anonymous drops this video today or this morning or late last night, talking about 17 days from now, there will be a false flag operation. And to be very clear, what a false flag looks like is how he explained it. The way you manufacture consent based on instilling fear, division, hate. Let's not forget hate. So COVID did the hate thing. COVID did a great job at us hating our neighbors, hating our family members that didn't get the jibbity job, hating anybody who had a problem with the lockdowns and, wanted to go to the gym or play basketball. Oh, what are you trying to do? Kill grandma, you son of a bitch. So they understood, so that they understood how to turn us on each other. 9/11, and you guys know what is the equivalent of Event 201 for COVID? What would be the equivalent for 9/11? Project of the New American Century. 1 year before. Everything's 1 year before. And to be clear, this meeting for the July 4th event happened 1 year before. Last April. It says it on the cover. April 2024. So it's always a year before. 1 year before they do a simulation. The next year, the thing happens. So 9/11, what was it? Project of a New American Century. August 2000. 1 year before 9/11. Crosshairs on the Twin Towers. On the cover of the freaking manual. You guys know this one. Project of the New American Century. Dick Cheney. George W. Actually, I think I was told George W. was the only one not in the room. That's very interesting. Jeb Bush was there. Wolfowitz, Rumsfeld, the whole gang. What would happen if the Twin Towers was hit? Happened to be with two targets on the buildings, on the cover. How would we respond? So you manufacture consent, you manufacture fear, you blame it on a foreign entity. In that case, the war on terror began. You bring in the surveillance state, you bring the Patriot Act, the whole thing. We lived through that. COVID, a lot of people wouldn't think COVID had anything to do with a military operation. You're damn right it was a military operation. It was a NATO operation, 100%, no question, 100% NATO operation. So now Anonymous puts this video out. We already have the manual from Dr. David Martin. People are looking at this. They're downloading it. The medical freedom movement community doesn't necessarily like the connection to Israel. They don't talk about that. And I understand. We have a lot of it's weird. It's weird. We've talked to a lot of doctors. We've talked to a lot of scientists, a lot of people connecting the dots about the censorship, about you eliminate the medical treatment, you eliminate the prevention method, right? Ivermectin, you wipe it out. You put people on ventilators, which killed them. You drug them up with remdesivir, which killed them. So we can go through all the steps and how you close all the schools, destroy families, destroy small businesses, upward transfer of wealth, CARES Act. We can go through each thing. But they don't like talking about Israel. They don't. The RFK Jr. certainly don't. RFK Jr., HHS. Let's get the mRNA out, but we're not really getting the mRNA out. The vaccine's still on the market. Okay. They don't like talking about Israel. I talked to Dr. David Martin on our video. Again, it's like got more views on our Rumble channel than we've ever had on anything. And Israel doesn't come up. Anonymous drops this video, and it's all about Israel. That's what he's talking about. Let's be 100% clear. That's what he's talking about. And he's talking about how a foreign entity controls us, puts us against each other, gets us controlled out of fear, out of hate, division, and the worst feeling, I think the worst emotion out of all that, which it leads to, is the feeling of vengeance needed. Revenge, vengeance. You do this to us, we're going to do this to you. I think that's the main thing. And that's what COVID was missing, that part. So you put 9/11 and COVID together, and here you go. You got your July 4th incident. I was on the fence about, look, we did our part. We got the manual out to people. But this morning when I saw Anonymous's video, I go, you get the calendar out and you count the 17 days and you go, shit. It had to be July 4th, didn't it? It had to be Independence Day. When you read the manual, they tell you it's about getting in the psyche of the American people, right? They had to get us on our day of independence. Those sons of bitches. They hit us where it hurt. We're celebrating our independence. And they took us out when we weren't expecting it. Well, now we got to really get to war. It's time to buckle down, guys. It's time for vengeance. And meanwhile, 280,000 of us are dead. 400,000 of us are infected, whatever that means, infected by this bioweapon, which the manual basically claims is what the simulation leads to. So, okay. So all that, can we connect these two? Should we connect these two? These are questions I'm having. Should we say, hey, Dr. David Martin, look what Anonymous put out. And he's basically saying it's Israel maneuvering this entire thing. Is that what we're talking about here? Does he want to have that? I don't know if he wants to have that conversation. I don't know. I know he wants to get the manual out. Anonymous wants us to know that a foreign entity is controlling what we do. We're seeing it in real time. We're seeing a completely ineffective president. Anybody in his position would be ineffective because that's how the position is. It's completely captured by Israel, 100%, ever since JFK. So it doesn't matter. Trump, Kamala, Biden, it doesn't matter. Netanyahu, Israel, the Mossad is calling the shots. You guys want to see what to get to the end of this segment. I think it's important you guys see an example of what a false flag looks like, because we're talking about a false flag event possibly, potentially happening on our soil on July 4th, Independence Day. Here is an example from a Mossad, an ex-Mossad agent who's going to tell us what a false flag operation looks like. She's going to tell us about an actual false flag information that happened in 1994. Listen to how she describes it. This is real. This is not conspiracy theory. This is real. This is what they do. 1994, false flag operation. Here's how it works.
Cases that really got us. First of all, there was a false flag attack in London in 1994, where a car bomb exploded outside the Israeli embassy in the centre of London.
Now, I remember this vaguely. This is, we're talking 14 years ago.
It's a long time
but
ago.
But it was huge at the time. I mean, it was a huge worldwide story.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, there'd been an earlier attack against some Jewish interest section in Buenos Aires earlier that year as well. Similar sort of MO, modus operandi, with a car bomb driven and parked outside that exploded.
So in 1994, a car bomb explodes outside the Israeli embassy in London.
In London, yeah.
Anyone hurt or killed? I don't remember.
Very minor injuries, that was all. Okay. Nobody was killed. And it was a very sophisticated device. It appeared to eat itself, eat all the forensics. Now, this is very, very...
So look at her title. She's an ex-MI15 whistleblower. So I've become a whistleblower once I am no longer a thing. So that's whatever. Okay, fine. Tell us what you saw inside, and then you can sell a book and whatever. Okay, but explain what happened in this particular incident. Very small, but enough to create public consent. That's the whole thing. That's the point. Noam Chomsky's been telling us that for years, how you manufacture public consent. Okay, tell us what you learned and what actually happened from the inside.
Rare. Even the IRA, which is a very sophisticated terrorist organization, could not make bombs that effective. So it looked like it, sort of fairly technical person who put that together. But what emerged from that, the senior MI5 officer who was in charge of the investigation into it and had seen all the evidence but also all the intelligence, which isn't necessarily admissible in court, wrote his formal assessment at the end of the case. And he said he reckoned that Mossad, the Israeli external intelligence agency, had bombed their own embassy. A sort of controlled explosion outside the embassy. And as I said, that was a senior MI5 officer. That was his formal verdict. If you read that on the internet now, you would say that sounds like some mad conspiracy theory. But it wasn't. This was the official position of MI5. And he said that they did it for two reasons. One, they were always hassling MI5 for increased security around their embassy and other interests in London. Because, of course, London had a reputation of giving safe haven to Arab dissidents from around the world at that point. And MI5 kept saying, well, there's no reason to increase the threat assessment. You don't need extra protection. So letting off a controlled explosion outside, of course, they immediately got what they wanted there. But crucially, 2 innocent Palestinians were arrested, charged and convicted of conspiracy to cause that attack. And they were very active in a Palestinian support network in London, political campaigning for the people on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And they were gaining some traction in the media. They were getting quite a lot of support. So by arresting these people and framing them from an attack and sticking them in prison, the whole network just shattered and hasn't got back on its feet to this day. So that would be a clear political advantage for Mossad to have achieved in London by framing these innocent people for an attack which was carried out by Mossad.
Where are these 2 people now?
They're still rotting in prison.
So they've been in prison for 14 years.
Yeah, and they both got 20-year sentences. They both proclaim their innocence. They will serve the whole sentence.
Look at how she doesn't seem remorseful at all. I mean, I guess just her saying it, is that enough? I just wanted to admit this, or, I mean, it's really bizarre to me that there's no, like, we got to get these people out, like, now. Like, what are you saying? Like, how are they spending? Like, it doesn't, so this is how you can frame whatever you want, blame whoever you want. We talk about MK Ultra, where there's we've seen these little tiny ones happen. We've seen the murder randomly of Free Palestine. Here, cuff me after the guy killed the embassy, the Christian Zionist Israeli embassy in DC representative and his fiance. Cuff me, Free Palestine. So, however you're blaming whether it's somebody who they just pin it on, somebody who steps up and says I did this when they didn't. So whatever, like she's like kind of whatever about it, just whatever.
And it was a young woman called Samar Alami who's had a breakdown since this case for obvious reasons, and a young man called Jawed Botme, and
they were found guilty of
conspiring to cause the attack, not actually doing it. They had cast iron alibis, but the linkage was a mysterious.
So they had alibis, but they were still put in jail forever because you planned it. you had alibis for the crime itself, but you planned it. It's so bizarre the way her mood when she's saying this. It's very bizarre to me. I don't know. But she's just revealing it. She's just saying it.
This figure who was known as Raider Mughrabi. And he was a man, apparently Middle Eastern, who befriended many people within this Palestinian support network. And Jawed Botmeh knew a little bit about second-hand cars. So Raider Mughrabi asked him to go along to an auction and help him buy a second-hand car. So Jawed did. This was the car that was used in the explosion. This was the linkage that pulled these Palestinians into the case. And of course, during the investigation, Raider Mughrabi just disappeared. So the speculation would be that actually this guy was the Mossad person.
Okay. Smug or whatever the feeling, it doesn't matter. She's telling us this, but this is just one example. This is just one example. And those out there who don't know how this works, how you can create a narrative and you're manufacturing consent by doing a false flag operation. There's still people out there that don't know that false flag is a real thing. It's a real thing. They get better and better at it every time. And now that Anonymous drops this video, again, we're giving him loudest voice of the week because it's essential that we share this out and people have this discussion. We're not trying to create fear and panic. We're trying to say that based on everything we've seen, the stars aligning, it sounds like there's a good chance that something is going to be happening. Even if it's not on July 4th, we thought something might be going down over this last weekend. We know that there has to be some way to get people to stop revolting against the idea of World War III. How do you do that? You have to have an incident. We see it time and time again. 9/11. You guys, how do you get everybody? Yeah, let's bomb this shit out of the Middle East. That's how you do it. So let's just keep our eyes open, keep the conversations going. Don't worry about being called a conspiracy theorist for having a discussion. Certainly don't be worried about being called anti-Semitic for discussing the fact that Israel has this much power, that the Mossad has this much power. We saw earlier in the show, we showed you the clip of a colonel telling us who worked at the Pentagon in 2002. The Mossad ran the Pentagon. They walked in, they took it over in 2002. They've owned it ever since. All that stuff we talked about, Project of the American Century, was all, which happened 2 years earlier, but it was all because there was a foreign entity guiding the whole thing and controlling us from a distance, from near and from far, and deciding everything we do. So it really, again, it doesn't matter who's president. The people have to get angry. The people have to stand up, and don't let this work this time. Even if there's chaos, even if most horrible shit goes down, we have to remember not to tap into, and it's okay that we can respond to that if something horrible happens and people, worst case scenario, people, drop, are taken out for whatever reason, however that looks like. If it's really, really, really bad, we can be angry, we can be upset, we can be hurt, we can feel loss, confusion, all of that. But whatever you do not allow that to be turned into hate and into that vengeance, that need for vengeance. That we have got to avoid at all cost, and know that we're being set up from the inside, from a foreign entity that runs our entire foreign policy and domestic policy, for that matter. Now that saying Free Palestine is basically a hate crime, that's where we are. That's where we are now. Free Palestine is actually a hate crime. Words are violence, and you only have a problem with children getting blown up to pieces because you hate Jews. If it was another person doing it, another country, another people doing it, we would be totally fine with it. And that's how you know that you hate Jews, because it's only when they blow up kids that you have a problem. So here we are, being controlled by a foreign entity domestically and on foreign soil, and we're this close to being involved with yet another war. Multitasking wars. That's what we do. That's what we do now. We multitask. We spin the plates in the air. We juggle the balls. Every ball's another war. Add in another ball. Here we go. Eventually, it's going to blow up in our faces. You can't juggle all these balls forever. It's not going to happen. It's not sustainable. But we know that it's not sustainable. So share out that video of Anonymous. I'll throw it into chat or the links, at least, or the description. I'll do it in the bio, and we'll put this segment out hopefully soon. Loudest voice of the week, anonymous. You'll be sharing this one out. Show people what's going on. Again, I think it's just for us. I don't think you can get somebody fresh in this space. Like if you show them Anonymous's video, they're going to say, oh, that's all theater. That's all Hollywooded out and the music. And don't worry about that. But we need to share it with each other, people that have been paying attention, so we can be informed and understand that we need to stay ahead of things and be prepared. That's it. Not about fear baiting. We're just trying to stay informed and prepared so we can respond the best way we can with our critical thinking skills intact in a non-tribal way. That is loudest voice of the week. Okay. You guys, thanks so much. I'm going to get back to your guys' comments. We had started talking back with Matt earlier, and then we jumped to the segment. I think it was the right thing to do because we had the Rumble raid from you guys, and I appreciate that from you guys from Due Dissidents sending over the Rumble raid. Very cool. If you guys are just checking us out, we are the Homeless Left. We're on Rumble. We're also on YouTube. If you guys want to go over and check out YouTube, the thing about YouTube, if you again, this may come as a shock to you or not. I don't know. I don't know how many channels you guys know of that had their YouTube channel removed, permanently terminated, doesn't exist. So Homeless Left is on Rumble. It's on Twitter, but you know where it's not on YouTube. We had to do a burner channel. So we started a burner channel. It's called THL Presents. So you can find us on THL Presents. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really, really appreciate it. And we hope to be monetized on there soon. The channel is only 5 months old. So that's it's shocking that we have the engagement that we do now. Again, because they terminated our original channel, The Homeless Left. It's gone. You can't find it. But yeah, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting the censorship industrial complex, the U.S.-Israel war machine, and Big Pharma. We're going to keep calling out Big Pharma because they suck. And there's our support page on Locals. Really, really appreciate you guys. Okay, let's do some comments before we wrap things up. Because, again, man, it's so good to have you guys on here today, the Due Dissidents Rumble Raid. I love that. It sounds cool. Rumble Raid actually does sound better than, what was it, Twitch Raid? Is that where it comes from? Twitch, right? Twitch Raid. Rumble Raid has a better sound. It does. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Jungle Jer, we got that one in there. This is funny, Jungle Jer. Weapons of mass destruction. I knew it. Let's get them. That's very cool. Very cool. DS, thanks. Tulsi was hired as eye candy for the MAGA sycophants. Great theory. I like that theory because she ain't being invited to the parties anymore. They used her. She looked good in that Avengers lineup. That's what it was. It was the event. You guys remember the Avengers lineup? RFK Jr. Elon was, what was Elon? Was Iron Man? Yeah, I think Elon was Iron Man. Trump was Captain America. Tulsi has to be Black Widow, right? So you got to get her the eye candy, right? That's how you sell more. That's how Marvel sells more tickets. Put Scarlett Johansson in a tight uniform. By the way, she doesn't have any superpowers. They don't give her any superpowers. Just Thor and Captain America. Iron Man doesn't have any superpowers, but he's got a bunch. He's like rich as shit, so he's got all his gear. It's like really high tech, so that's good enough. But I guess Black Widow has to rely on her, physical attributes. Distract with her tight outfit. Yeah, no, she's not used. She's not needed anymore. Thanks for that, DS Tanks. Over on our YouTube, yes, Zootzilla, it's Iraq all again. I saw this before. We had a video we didn't get to play earlier. It's a quick reminder since we're on the Iraq thing, and I do think it's important to remind people. I'm just going to play this. If you guys were around in 2002, if you guys were around and you remember Netanyahu going to this Congress and telling us why it was so important that we go in and take out Saddam, it's very, very familiar to today. So if you've never seen this, you're going to think you're having some deja vu because he almost looks exactly the same. It's very weird. He might be on that little adrenochrome kick, the adrenochrome kick, the keeping you looking young there, Netanyahu. 2002, Netanyahu talking about Iraq. and why it's so important that we have to stop Saddam right now before it's too late.
The question of a realistic assessment of a threat, a palpable threat to our common civilization. There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question.
No question. Don't question it. 100%. Just like Alfred Borda, CEO of Pfizer. The vax works 100% of the time. 100%. 100% effective. Look at this. 100%. Bibi is 100% effective, just like the jibbity jab. He's 100% effective in his warning of us, of all the 7 countries that are going to take us out if we don't take them out first.
Whatsoever. And there is no question that once he acquires it, history shifts immediately.
Why don't we ever fire anyone that gets shit wrong? Why does everyone get to keep coming back? And I don't mean, you can't really fire Netanyahu, but the newscasters, the congressmen, the senators, why do they get to keep coming back? I don't understand it. They're always wrong. And then we like, oh, what do you have to say? What's your opinion on this? You've been 0% on everything else, literally 0%. What's your opinion on this one? We really want to hear it. Maybe we should be doing the opposite of what you say. Maybe that's why. Maybe we should be having you on our network in an interview. Tell us what you think about Iran, and then we'll do the opposite. Since you are literally 0% when you have a 0% win rate on being right. So we'll do the opposite. That would be the reason. I think that's a great reason to hear what he has to say, and anybody else who's been wrong every single time as well. Oh yeah, this from Leslie. I don't care what she said. That's in reference to Trump deflecting Tulsi Gabbard when Tulsi said that no, Iran stopped its nuclear program in 2003. Trump says, I don't care what she says. I feel differently, and feelings, as we all have learned, are way more important than facts. Yeah, this is the list. Jungle Jar, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Iran, and one more. Oh, Gaza, just for fun. It is fun. Isn't it fun? Actually, you forgot Yemen. Yemen is in there too. I believe Yemen. We were looking for Yemen. 500 points. Looking for Yemen. But good job, Jungle Jar. Good job. No, look. I'll put this up here, Zutzel. I'm not a fan of Assad. He was carpet bombing women and children. Okay. We can debate that. But the point is, you had to create, the Western media had to create a campaign from scratch, fabricated out of nowhere, that he was putting chemical weapons against his own people. That was a lie. That didn't happen. If there was carpet bombing, maybe that could have been enough. But again, I think that's debatable, but understand, and we're not saying we like Assad. We don't like Assad. We're saying you can't just go take out another leader of another country. You can't just do that. You can't make up shit and do that. That's not how it works. But apparently you can, because we didn't do it successfully the first time. We come back and we did it the second time in 11 days. It was pretty phenomenal. And now, who do we put in charge? Al-Qaeda themselves, right? There you go. So that was the plan. Put Al-Qaeda in charge. Much better than Assad. But appreciate the comment nonetheless. Let's go on to a little more here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Craig. I knew you did that. I was thinking. Craig Pasta, Jardula, reposted the stream. Thank you, my friend. I saw a little bump on Twitter when this happened. I was like, where? I wonder if that's on ours. No, that was Craig's Twitter. That was Yo Pasta Twitter. Go follow Yo Pasta. He gets the message out. He gets the geopolitics. He gets it before everyone else. He and Fee, by the way, guys, Craig and Fee together on Truthwire. Don't miss their show. That's the best analysis you're going to get on all of this stuff. And I was happy to be a guest host with them on Monday. But go join Truthwire. They do 2-3 shows a week, sometimes at least 2 a week, I think. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on here. Yes. Eva Burke, what did you miss? You didn't miss anything. It's all there. It's all there. You got this. We got you. We got you. Oh, look. Sherry Wise is here. Sherry Wise, thank you for being part. Oh, and she's coming on YouTube. Very cool. Love it. Love it on you. Yeah, wherever you guys wanna join us on either one. Doesn't matter. We got you on both. We got you on both. Except sometimes we have to take the lives down from YouTube just because it's weird, guys. It's so bizarre what they do to us on YouTube. It's so bizarre. From Zootzilla, one more. Oh shit. Israel says US. Now we saw the reports. Israel said we'll be joining in a matter of days. I didn't know Israel said US will join tonight. Oh boy. I thought we had a few days left here. Oh, I guess we don't. I guess we have just hours. Okay, guys. Well, enjoy the last few hours here. Who's going to fight back? I don't know. I don't know who's going to fight back here. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. We got a few more coming up here. Oh, all sentient beings, 100%. There you go. Thanks for joining us. We know you are in healthcare. Thank you for representing the healthcare workers out there. All sentient beings. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Damn, all you guys coming in late. Oh, this is a good one. The Goldberg. Yep, flabbergasted. You never thought of the Goldberg flabbergasted. That's funny. Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. It's so hard. By the way, it's so hard being a Jew in Hollywood. I got a Jew name, Weinglass. It's so hard. I was thinking of changing my name because we get persecuted here. We don't get any work. Oh, it's so hard. I wonder why Whoopi Goldberg changed her name to Jewish. Maybe she just wanted to have it harder. She wanted to have a harder story to tell. It was so hard for me as a black woman. Women getting treated how women get treated, black people getting treated how they do. On top of it, I decided to change my name to Jewish to get a triple threat of horribleness. It's so hard. It's so hard to be Jewish. Whoopi, good for you. Change that name. Show the world you can fight 3 different obstacles at once. Oh, I mean, it's hard enough being a woman, hard enough being African American, but that being Jewish really, really takes the cake. It's the hardest thing, especially in Hollywood. Nobody will take a meeting. Nobody will give you a chance to be in a movie. Oh, nobody. It's so hard. I'm with you. I really feel it every day. The struggle. Okay. Okay, what else we got here? We'll go through his. Yep, ChatterX. Who would have thought? Taco, and that's the name given to. I don't know who came up with it, but Taco was the next name they had for Trump after his breakup with Elon. I guess I read around there. Just another proxy. Yep, just another proxy. More wars, exactly. More wars. And there's dissidents. I think we got word of this about a few minutes late, but thank you so much. Rating us is awesome because your fans rock, your viewers rock, and I feel like we're doing that. We're following in your example. We're following you set a high bar for us, and we like what you do, and we love your audience too. Because you know what? We got to keep doing this. Hit them from multiple places at once. We got to do it. Said, hey, since we got to fight multiple wars on behalf of Israel, we might as well hit back at them with multiple channels, multiple shows, multiple people doing this. That's what we have to do. So we can beat them. We can beat them right back with numbers. Beat them with numbers. That's what we'll do. Yeah, and welcome to the Homeless Left. Thank you, Leslie, thank you for welcoming them before I knew they were here. That's very cool. Very cool. All right, we'll go through the comments that came in after the raid. Let's see. All these highs. Everybody knows each other. I like how everybody kind of knows each other a little bit. This is the one. It takes a village to be non-tribal. Bonzo Beans, I think unless there's one that's sticks out from here, for now you're getting comment of the day. You're getting comment of the day, unless there's another one. And of course, Leslie, thank you. Rumble raids are cool. I love new people. Hi, friends from D. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, this is funny, ChatterX. This is. Could you imagine if the homeless left was raided by the Bongino army? That would be insane. That would be insane. Yeah, that would be. We might get into a little scuffle with some of them. I don't know how they're responding to their dude right now, but my God, are you talking? I mean, can you say captured? Could you look in a guy's face and not see how captured he is and how he would? He's like, I just want to do my show. I don't want to do this FBI thing. It's really bad. It's really bad. Like, we have to like pretend that there's no Jeffrey Epstein list. We had to pretend that Epstein killed himself. Oh my God, it's bad. Can I just go back to my number one Rumble show? Can I please? Yeah, I'd love to get raided by Bongino, by his people. That would be great. We would have something to show them. We would have something to show them. And we wouldn't be mean to them because we don't like to punch down. We like to inspire. Just like at the rallies with the No Kings people. We want to inspire. We say, hey, your guys' the things you want, the things you care about, they matter. Just watch out. You might be being manipulated right now. That's all. We just wanted to let you know the things you care about might be being used against you. Exactly. And then look at this, Leslie. This is great. We are non-tribal approach to news, not brought to you by Pfizer. That's correct. That is correct. Okay, moving on. Guys, I'm seeing you guys like meeting each other, introducing each other. Hell yeah. You guys rock, man. What do you even need me for? Why don't you guys just run the show? I will kick back. I should kick back. Yeah, ChatterX, I really appreciate the historical context on all these different CIA or I guess it's Mossad false flags. The list is long. Look at this. You got Yugoslavia, this hoax, stadium executions hoax. I think that's what led to Clinton wanted to drop the bombs at Yugoslavia, which is now called Serbia. Serbia is a beautiful place, by the way, guys. You guys got to go. It's unbelievable. Like Serbia getting through all these bombs and devastations of 1998, 99 when Clinton bombed the shit out of them. And they kept them. By the way, they never rebuilt the roads. They kept them. They want to remember. You know what matters to people that like use critical thinking skills? What matters to people is historical context. So thank you, ChatterX, for sharing historical context matters. Putin didn't just wake up on February of 2022 and said, I just feel like taking over Europe. I'll start with Ukraine. Yeah, that's what I feel like doing. By the way, Hitler didn't just wake up one day in 1938 and said, I just feel like killing all the Jews. That didn't happen either. There's more to the story. Hamas, they didn't just wake up one morning in October of 2023 and say, we feel like putting some Israeli babies' heads in ovens and raping their women. That's what we feel like doing. It sounds fun. We had nothing else going on today. We were busy living in our luxurious, pampered, as RFK Jr. would tell you, pampered lifestyle. Very pampered, very dull and boring. We just feel like, hey, you guys, you want to get together and leave your shoes at home. You're going to have to take your shoes off to rape them anyways. So leave your shoes at home, guys. We're going to jump over the wall. And we're going to chop off some babies' heads and put them in ovens. Why? I don't know. We just felt like doing it this morning on a random day in October 2023. Completely unprovoked, as RFK Jr. will tell you. And we didn't even understand that there'd be consequences to this because we just live in the moment. We're animals and we just live in the moment. And this is what we wanted to do. So thanks again for historical context. More of it. Here we go. Oh, you got that one. No. This is the USS Princeton, 1844. Pearl Harbor, 1942. Total false flag. USS Maddox Gulf of Tonkin incident, 1964. That's a great one to look into. We need more. I want to look more into that one. We all know about USS Liberty, 1967. And of course, WMD hoax in Iraq. Well, the WMD hoax in Iraq got more national attention when we realized it was a lie. But that's where it stopped. They never explained, the mainstream media never explained about false flag. They presented it as a lie. And a lie is not accurate of a depiction of what a false flag is. A lie is a lie is a lie. A false flag is a coordinated effort to gain a result of something that is based on fabricated information and experience. It becomes fabricated. It's all contrived in order to get something else to happen, well beyond just telling a fib. So that's the extent of that one that we've seen, at least in the media. And then, of course, people's short-term memories, they don't remember that it happened, even though they were told it happened. And the media admitted, oh, yeah, that was, yeah, WMDs was a lie. Yeah, oopsies. And then, yep, Schmizrael. Yep, starts with the letter I and rhymes with Schmizrael. Thanks, Ed Rams. This is, yes, THL. Thanks for qualifying this, Ed Rams. Matt does talk. I talk about manufacturer consent, a lot of re-COVID and lockdowns. Yep, we have to keep going back. I've had friends here that know COVID was bullshit. They might have fallen for it and gotten a couple of the little jibbity jabs or not, or whether they did or not. They don't want to hear about it. They think, isn't COVID done? Isn't it in the past? Didn't we already do it? We have to keep going back and seeing how, from a later perspective, looking back, how are we informed about the present? And the new information comes up all the time that we have to inform ourselves of. So it's very, very important. We cannot just leave it in the rearview mirror. We have to keep referencing it. And there's still results. There's still, you want to talk about a vaccine being tried for at least 5 to 7 years. That's the minimum amount, 5 to 7 years to test a vaccine. So the guinea pigs are the people that took this thing, and they're still being tested. We're still in the 5-year time frame, 6, 7. So we're still testing. So this ain't in the rearview mirror as far as I'm concerned. But even 10 years from now, we should still be talking about it and informing ourselves of what is, if we lived through it once, if they got away with this, what else can they get away with? Very important questions. Very, very necessary questions. All sentient beings also said that it looks like 9/11 2.0. But I'm calling it 9/11 meets COVID. So I don't know if that's a 3.0 or I don't know if there's a way. If you combine two, if you combine two franchises, who gets the sequel number? That's always I don't know how that works. Who did that? Oh, Freddy Krueger and Jason. So you got Nightmare on Elm Street. You got Friday the 13th. Freddy versus Jason. Who gets the number? Who gets the Roman numeral on their counting of their franchise? Tough one. You can't give it to both. Maybe you give it to neither. I don't know. So is it 9/11 2? Is it COVID 2? Or is it 3? I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, who gives a shit? They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and we're gonna have to figure it out. So we'll think of a name after it's done. Maybe we'll have a name for it. They'll give it a name and they'll tell us what it's called. They'll give it a name and then they'll tell us what it's called. Like 9/11. Very catchy. Very catchy. They couldn't call COVID Corona, but you guys remember Corona? Corona's gonna get us. Corona's gonna get us. You knew they couldn't call it Corona because that would be not good for the beer, right? So you had to go with COVID. Whatever. They'll think of something catchy for the July 4th one. What better than an Orwell quote from Chatterax? In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Very, very good. Very, very important. Thank you for that. Let's see a couple more and then we'll close it out here. Man, you guys are sharp today. You guys are sharp. Love it. Oh, Pamela Drew, thank you for this. The video said it was the architect. So it was not an anonymous release. Huh. Okay. Okay. So we got to look at the source. The architect. Okay. So I guess it was being shared as anonymous and maybe it wasn't. Regardless of the source, this is the exact same conversation we're having with Dr. David Martin about it. It's so insane to me. So we'll look at that again. Thank you for that, Pamela Drew. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's always good to double, triple check the sources. Important, very important. That's worth saying. That's worth saying. Okay. We'll do a few more. And we'll call it. We're getting to the 3.5 hour mark. We always go over the 3 hours. Oh well. Really, really cool, guys. A lot of great comments. I got some more quotes from Chatterax. DS Tanks. There is an anonymous was where I heard in 2010 there would be 3 one-term presidents leading into a collapse of the U.S. dollar in World War III. Wow. 3 one-term presidents. Does that? I wonder if that was referencing Trump, Biden, Trump. I mean, it could, because they do count Trump as 47, 45, 47. So you got 46, 45, 46, 47. It does actually line up. 45, 46, 47 lines up with this. So thanks for that. And that's again, Pamela, you had said about the architect, not anonymous, but either way, we have to piece these things together. Whatever the source may be, we have to piece these things together. So thanks for that, DS Tanks. We'll end with the. You know what? I will put some of these up when we do the outro. This is cool. Okay. A dingo ate my baby. Welcome back to the show. A dingo ate my baby. This is a little coded up. Okay, let me try to get this. To carpet bomb, that is Western imperialist propaganda, and trucks sky jibber jabber that gives tactic cover for imperialism. Okay, I'm still trying to figure that one out, but I appreciate the comment. But yeah, all in all, it's cover for imperialism. It's always cover for imperialism. So definitely. Thank you for that. Last one, and then I'll do the rest of you guys on the rollout at the end. Sojmur. Probably most of this MAGA Trump split is engineered for psychological effect. Great point. Hard to argue that. We've seen Trump go against, people before, and then it was just theater. We knew it was theater all the time. Probably theater with Elon. So calling Tucker Carlson names right now. I think he's calling him Kooky Tucker. Yeah. Whole thing could be manufactured. The split could be manufactured. I wouldn't put it past them. Okay. That should do it for Talking Back with Matt. And now we will close the show out. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks to the Dude Dissidents Rumble raid from the DD boys and their audience. Love you guys. Thanks to Jay Scott for coming on and giving us a lot of content there. If you guys missed it, we'll throw the segments up soon. You can always go back and watch the lives because we always keep our lives up. 114 episodes we've been doing for 2 years of this. They're all up on our Rumble channel. You can go to them anytime. Jose Vega will be back with us. He was unable. He had a little personal emergency. Couldn't make it on today, but we will have him back on the show very soon. So don't worry. We're looking forward to that conversation with him for sure. And next week we'll be joined by we'll have Craig Pasta on Thursday, actually, and we'll have Alex Strenger on. He'll be a guest, Alex Strenger. And Caleb T. Maupin will be joining us as well at some point, I think on Thursday, if not the following week. And we'll, at some point, I believe we'll be having Dr. Mary Talley Bowden on. We haven't had her yet, so we still need to get our schedules aligned. So yeah, a lot of great guests coming up in the near future. Check me out on the what is called the Monica Perez Show tomorrow, 2 o'clock. You can catch me 2 o'clock Pacific live on the Monica Perez Show. We'll be having a very in-depth conversation about our state of the world and the state of our divided country with Monica Perez. She's been awesome. So that's 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. That's Wednesday, June 18th, tomorrow. And we'll be back here Thursday with co-host Craig Pasta Jardula and Alex Strenger. Let me put up this final video, which is going to be our play out, and we'll put up a few more comments of you guys that just put them up late. No worries. We want to give a shout out to everybody that watched today. All you guys, very cool. This outro, since we've had kind of a theme of today, has been reflection, looking back, informing ourselves of things from the past to now. So what better way to end the show with a reminder of George W. Bush. George W. Bush telling us about the Iraq War. Glenn Greenwald reminded us of this. He put this out and I grabbed it. So thanks, Glenn Greenwald. That he says this, it's a bit surprising that Israel and its AIPAC-funded U.S. loyalists haven't tried even a little to change the 2002 Iraq War propaganda script. Despite how disgraced and debunked it is, you can wait one generation and haul out even the most discredited war justifications. And what he's talking about is George Bush. It's the exact same script. They're so lazy. They just pulled it off the shelf. They dusted it off and they put it in front of Netanyahu and Trump and all of the pundit propagandists on Fox, CNN, and MSNBC. They're all in it together. Okay, guys, till next time, remember, keep your critical thinking skills in front. Take those tribal goggles off. Non-tribal approach to news, non-tribal approach to life. And don't forget, always go at everything every day with courage, with conviction, and above all else, principle. I'm Matt Weinglass. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Remember, power to the people. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Information from a high-ranking Iraqi nuclear engineer who had defected revealed that despite his public promises, Saddam Hussein had ordered his nuclear program to continue. The evidence indicates that Iraq is reconstituting its nuclear weapons program. Saddam Hussein has held numerous meetings with Iraqi nuclear scientists, a group he calls his nuclear mujahideen, his nuclear holy warriors. Satellite photographs reveal that Iraq is rebuilding facilities at sites that have been part of its nuclear program in the past. Iraq has attempted to purchase high-strength aluminum tubes and other equipment needed for gas centrifuges, which are used to enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. If the Iraqi regime is able to produce, buy, or steal an amount of highly enriched uranium a little larger than a single softball, it could have a nuclear weapon in less than a year. And if we allow that to happen, a terrible line would be crossed. Saddam Hussein would be in a position to blackmail anyone who opposes his aggression. He would be in a position to dominate the Middle East. He would be in a position to threaten America. And Saddam Hussein would be in a position to pass nuclear technology to terrorists. Some citizens wonder, after 11 years of living with this problem, why do we need to confront it now? And there's a reason. We've experienced the horror of September the 11th. We have seen that those who hate America are willing to crash airplanes into buildings full of innocent people. Our enemies would be no less willing. In fact, they would be eager to use biological or chemical or a nuclear weapon. Knowing these realities, America must not ignore the threat gathering against us. Facing clear evidence of peril, we cannot wait for the final proof, the smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.